Good afternoon and welcome to EduAdvisor's webinar series, part of the EduAdvisor Virtual Education Fair, where academicians and industry professionals will be weighing in on a number of topics ranging from choosing an education pathway to jobs and careers. My name is Nina and I'll be your host for today. We have an exciting lineup of speakers who will be weighing in on a variety of topics such as the overview of global cybersecurity career landscape, medicine as a career choice, navigating social media and the power of hashtags, and the tips and tricks in navigating your academic pathway. Today, we have our first speaker, Dato Dr. Hussein Jazri, Associate Professor, Senior Vice President at Serba Dynamic Group, and a member of the Board of Governors at UNIMY, who will be sharing with us about the overview of global cybersecurity career landscape. We have Dato Hussein in the stream with us. Dato, I'm going to pull you into the stream now. Hi, Dato.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much, Nina.
You're
Can you see my...
welcome. Yes, I can see. How are you doing today, Dato?
I'm fine, except today is Saturday. It's supposed to be a relaxing day.
Yeah, it's okay. We're doing this for the students out there. A little background about our esteemed speaker today before we begin. Dato Hussein is a certified information systems security professional with more than 30 years of combined cybersecurity working experience in secure digital communications, information security, and cybersecurity. With an extensive educational background under his belt, namely a Bachelor in Engineering from Hartford, Connecticut, USA, and a PhD in Computer Science from the National Defense University of Malaysia, Dato Hussein has also contributed greatly to the country. To name a few, he set up the Malaysian Computer Emergency Response Team, MyCERT, introduced cyber-safe programs to schools and communities, as well as cyber clinics for small entrepreneurship programs, and he sets up Control System Simulation Lab for security evaluation and auditing as a service for critical infrastructure organizations in Malaysia. Now, he is a Senior Vice President at Serba Dynamic Group and a member of the Board of Governors at UNIMY. Thank you. Welcome, Doctor, to our webinar for today.
Yeah, thank you again.
So before we begin, to our live audience watching, if you have any questions for Dr. Hussein, do leave a comment in the comment section below and we'll get them answered at the end of the session. Also, don't forget to check out UNIMY's virtual booth while you're at the fair. Dato, I see that you've prepared your slides already. I shall show you slides now and you can start presenting it, Dato.
Okay, please help me with the time check. So
yes.
When I reach 30 minutes, I think you should alert me. Thank you.
All right, noted. You may present now, Dato.
So are we ready now? Can you see?
Yes, we are. Yes, I can.
So can I proceed?
Yes, you can, Dato.
Or should I proceed?
Yes, you can proceed now.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So I do not know exactly who I'm addressing to and talking to because I'm looking at my slides at the moment. So please excuse me for not addressing you well. If I may as well start my presentation. So it will be about around, I hope around 30 minutes, and it can be followed by question and answer. My presentation today is about global career landscape in cybersecurity. So this presentation is especially focuses to those parents and candidates that interested in cybersecurity as a career in their future endeavors at UNIMY. Okay, as introduced earlier, I'm a Senior Vice President of Cybersecurity at Serba Dynamic Group Berhad, and UNIMY is is also a part of Serba Dynamic Group, and I think, and for this purpose, I guess I am invited to talk about this today with you. Do you hear me clearly, Nina? Can you give some feedback?
Yes, doctor, I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, then I can proceed. So, what is cybersecurity and what it is focuses on? Basically, everyone is talking about digital connectivity now. The country is talking also about digital economy, digital competitiveness. We are also talking about digital gaps. Nowadays, everybody is online, one way or another. So, digital atmosphere or digital sphere or digital domain creates another dimension of the world which had never existed before that. So in this digital world, there are so many interesting activities that is happening throughout the world at the moment. And as it matures more and more, a lot more people will be participating in this digital space. I still remember when I was uh, 30 years back, there was no internet per se, so the activities was very minimal and very much focusing to research areas. But now I think the base is so wide. So like with other technology, um, it can be seen, it can be used both sides, just like a blade, which has both two edges. So you have like one side for good and the other side for bad, or we call it darkness. So likewise in digital world, in cyber world, you can see that the cyber criminals activities is one of the biggest challenges at the moment that humanity is faced in the next 2 decades. And I think when we started cybersecurity in Malaysia way back in the year of 2000 and until now 2021, I have not seen in a single year where the cyber crimes and cyber threats and cyber security events reducing. It has always been on the increase consistently. So then, with that phenomena, we can say that the cyber attacks and cyber threats are the fastest growing crime globally, and they are increasing in size, sophistication, and cost. It is also important to note that it is not easy to gun down a criminal in the cyberspace as much as we did or we do in our physical world, because there are a lot of rooms to maneuver, technically speaking as well as legally speaking, and politically speaking, and all these complexities of dimension intertwined together created a heaven for cyber criminals to operate in a way that that is a lot more easier and with lesser risks as compared to the physical crime. Thus, we can say that cybercrime damages soon will cost the world estimated to be 6 trillion annually by 2021, which is this year. It could be more, especially with the COVID pandemic. Everybody is online now. So that creates a lot more wider base of online connectivities around the world. What I'm showing you today now is the statistics of cybersecurity. I'm not going to talk about it in detail. I'm just trying to convey a message that the statistics is on the increase. Like in 2020, it was 400% higher than the previous year. Then I could not see how it can go down in years to come. In a way, it is scary because the degree and the intensity of the criminals in the digital world is increasing. But on the other side of the token, to those who wants to choose cybersecurity as their career in the future, entering the university in UNIMY, for instance, uh, choosing cybersecurity as your diploma or degree course, it is in a way it is positive. It is good for you because your career would last very long. There will be a lot more demands and openings on cybersecurity employability. I think I will talk about it a lot more in the slides to come. So you can also see the dimensions of the crimes has also defied logic, and I think stretched our logic into the maximum. So we have also now crime called ransomware. So ransomware is a way where a hacker or a cyber criminal enter into your computer environment, into your computing environment, and take away some important data by some technical means, such as using encryption, the common one, and and deny you the important data for business, for whatever reasons. And a ransomware usually operates by asking the victim to pay them in some way or another in order for them to release back those data. So this is a very sad situation because most of the ransomware cases are not ending up with uh, something that we are proud of. So this is also one type of I would say phenomenal of cyber crimes that is on the increasing trend. Beside the internet that you use to access using your computers, I think now we have mobile devices, we have smartphones. I think almost everybody is using phones, mobile phones. I think statistic in Malaysia states that 200% usage of mobile phone per per user per user in Malaysia, which on average give us like one person with two devices on average. So I think threats on mobile devices are also on the increase, as mobile devices are now being used to interface with to get you online, and to get you to do a lot of things, to buy food, to buy clothes, to pay bills, to look for information, to go to school, to take exams, and many more. So in years to come, I think mobile devices will place a lot more an important role in the digital space, because many of us are quite lazy to switch on our internet, our laptop or our computers. It is much convenient and much easier to just log in from our mobile devices. Hold on, my slide is stuck here. I don't know what happened. Let me do something about it. Stop sharing and sharing again. Just bear with me for a while.
No worries. No worries, Dato. You can just take your time.
Okay. I think my PowerPoint is freezing, so I need to check what happened. Okay, let me share again. Sorry for that. I'm in.
Not yet, Dato. You haven't shared your screen yet.
All right, I'm in now. Okay, can you see my
Yes, you are.
screen?
Yes, I can. All right.
Okay. All right, we were here. Okay, next threats. Let me continue. Apology. Sometimes things happens like this. Technically speaking, it is called Murphy's law. Something bound to fail, it will fail eventually. So then we have a threats on the IoT, and these are the smart gadgets that will be used more and more in at home, like our smart lights, sensors, refrigerators, washing machines, drones. There's a lot more. So there are also threats on these smart devices, because as these smart devices are interconnected and able to interlink with the bigger systems on the internet, it also creates an opportunity for the attacker to exploit. So don't be surprised to see if your IP camera at home, instead of uh, instead of you controlling it yourself and for your own eyes only, it can be also be hijacked by external party, like such as cyber criminals and hackers, to monitor you or whatever they want to monitor. So this can eventually, or will become a lot more common in the coming years. Okay, now I think having to know those threats, I think that is not something new. I think you hear about it almost every day, and in many news medium. So I will move on in terms of focusing into the career development in cybersecurity. So as you can see that the cybersecurity, as the digital frontier uh, revolutionize and modernize and evolutionize, whatever term you want to use it, the future of the future career of those in this field, such as in network security, for instance, will also have to move. Previously, for instance, we were on premise, or those connections and connectivities and data storage areas were in within the perimeter, but now we have what we call security in the cloud. So now, since we have security in the cloud, then we need those who are expert in protecting data and the security of the infrastructure and data that has been stored in the cloud. And the cloud may not be in near us, then the cloud can be anywhere in the world. So there's a lot of rooms here in terms of job opportunities. For instance, somebody needs to consolidate the security of the perimeter into the firewall going towards the cloud. Then we need to shift of our perspective from perimeter defense to perimeter and cloud. And then we need to do a lot more things to ensure that whatever we store in the cloud uh, are not copied, are not exploited by others. As you see now, the growth, I'm just giving you an example here. This is an example of how technology is moving out there. It could be a little bit technical here, but I'm just illustrating that, for instance, network security, which used to be quite simplistic in location devices, has now become network security as a service delivered in the cloud. So you need expertise who understands how to do it, how to do this, how to deliver this kind of service, how to protect against malware, data loss, and there are many companies out there who are doing services like this. Big global companies like FireEye, Microsoft, Verizon. Verizon is the TM equivalent in the US. And then you have a lot more uh, opportunities coming, uh, to say the least. So, for instance, in the advanced malware defense, then there are companies out there who are into this, like Bitdefender, um, Google, Webroot, SourceFire, FishTank. There are hundreds of companies out there who are looking into these issues. Okay, having to give you some feel about market demand, the threats. I guess by now you are quite comfortable to say that cybersecurity career is here to stay for a long time, as long as the digital space or digital world exists. So let's go into detail a bit about on this career prospect of those who are choosing cybersecurity as their path. Okay, career path, life path, or are going to make business from this or earn a living from this. From now on, my presentation will be based on the research done, based on research survey by ISC Square. ISC Square is the organization that has been existed many years. I think since the year of 2000. Before that focuses on the growth of cybersecurity professional. So I want to extract some of the research from this non-profit organization to impress or to discuss with you about some of the prospectus, opportunities, and the ups and downs of of a cybersecurity career. So I'll start here with something to do with hiring and retaining of top cybersecurity professionals. So there was research done, and then based on this research, this slide shows the most common or most commonly used cybersecurity skills. So if you are if you are a parent and your children is going to the university to take cybersecurity diploma, degree, masters, or even PhD, these are some of the main areas that they need to focus on or they can choose from. So if the student, if the candidate is inclined to engineering, so he or she can always focus or choose cybersecurity engineering. UNIMY offers this course, security engineering. Then if you are into the path of computer science, then you can look into area of security analysis, penetration testing, security administration, incident response, forensics, malware research and analysis. I think I have flashed to you just now how the industry wants people, wants a professional that can offer that kind of services. So you should also be able to do security auditing, threat intelligence analysts, user awareness training. So if you are an educator by nature, then this is also a field that you may want to explore and drill down. Security project management, risk analysis and management, technical writing. This is something that everybody has to do. Endpoint security management, network security and monitoring, intrusion detection, and many more. Okay, these are some of the most common skill sets that are being looked at in the marketplace. So all these skill sets that you see here can bring you up from a diploma, degree, master's, and PhD in each of these different segments. So that shows how deep cybersecurity skills need to be acquired. You know, security engineering, you can go from diploma up to PhD. Security analyst as well, penetration testing as well, incident response, forensic. Almost everything here can carry you forward from the beginning part to even to a PhD level and beyond. Okay, now let's go into the next slide. How often cybersecurity professionals are contacted by recruiters? So this is earlier statistics, yeah, taken. So you can see here, we are always being contacted by recruiters anyway. And majority here is, for example, like you look at the color here, the dark green is many times a day, and then you have the orange is about once a day, and then if you're talking about the blue, the light blue is a couple of times a month. So if you look into that coloring also alone, you can see that at least cybersecurity professionals are contacted by the job recruiters at least a couple of times a month. So that is how much demand of this career globally. I think this survey or this data that I'm presenting to you is not just about Malaysia. It is shaping the entire trend globally. Okay, just for you, good for you to know, skills used most on a daily basis for cybersecurity professional. These are some of the commonly used skills: network monitoring, security analysis, security administration, intrusion detection, risk analysis and management, security analysis. Why I'm flashing this to you who are the candidate that wants to choose cybersecurity as a career, entering the university, these are the skill sets that you must develop from the beginning, from the start. Yeah, you should not just like wait until the end, until the subject comes, because this is your career. So you must build these skill sets informally, formally, from whatever channels. Make yourself interested in these areas so that you become a good and skillful cybersecurity professional. Okay. Now let me talk about women in cybersecurity. If you are a woman there, ladies, this career is not just for men. So you have an equal opportunity here. So here the statistic shows globally climbing the leadership ladder. In short, the chance is almost equally likely between the male and the female in this field. And then women and men will do the same work in cybersecurity. So cybersecurity career work is just like a doctor. In fact, sometimes can be worse, because you have to to work sometimes around the clock. If the threat comes at midnight and you have to solve the problem midnight, and then if you have to stay in the office, you have to stay in the office until the problem is solved. So it is just like incident response 999 service. You are on call. You are supposed to resolve the matters at unpredicted hours. Sometimes you have to cancel your leave, things like that. So you have to be prepared for this type of orientation in your career. I call this this is what we call the career hazard. You have to take it. So women and men share similar job satisfaction rates in terms of doing this job. So it's good to know that almost the same. Cybersecurity professionals are between men and women. Those are very satisfied in their career. Is I think it's not far from each other. Now let's look into from the other perspective. From the initial one, I was covering from hiring perspective, and then we move into women in cybersecurity. Now let's talk about cybersecurity workforce study 2020, which was done last year. So did COVID-19 impacts on cybersecurity job? Yes, a little bit, but not much. Okay, so it's not much affected by it. In fact, it is quite consistent, and not many of these cybersecurity professionals are jobless. Okay, so from these statistics as well, cybersecurity staffing level and security risk because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Is there any significant shortage because of that? The answer is no. I think those people who are in the job are being kept to do the job. Is there any significant shortage of cybersecurity professionals in organizations out there globally? The answer is yes, meaning to say there are more jobs needed for cybersecurity professionals than ever they can find. Okay, so if you see here the coloring, the green, the dark green, and the orange, these are significant shortage, slight shortage, and the right amount. That consists of the majority in the circles. So it shows that, wow, as long as you are skillful, a job is waiting for you. Okay, next slide. Expected change in cybersecurity staffing level. Not much change from the decrease side, but I think the change will be on the left-hand side, which is on the increase. So there will be a lot more, almost consistent increase every year, 2018, 19, and 2020. And I believe 2021 you will have a lot more higher increase than what has been achieved in 2020. In these slides, you see the current cybersecurity workforce estimate that is needed globally. Okay, all right. The numbers that you see there is the number that is existed, and the numbers in the bracket is the shortages, is the gap, is the shortage of cybersecurity professional all over the world. Let me do a bit of a check. Nina, is it? Can you hear me still?
Yes, I can still hear you, Dato'.
Are you following me, or can you hear the presentation?
Yes, I can hear the presentation.
Okay, because I do not want to talk alone and not realizing that I'm cut out of everybody. Okay. Okay, now, if you see like the number of cybersecurity professional in Australia at the moment, 108,950. Canada, 101,000. Let's see, US, 879,000. Singapore, 57,000. I think Malaysia will be more than Singapore because our population is more. All right. So maybe Malaysia could be something like between Singapore and South Korea, in between there. Okay, all right. So then how much more deficit? I think Australia around 27,000, Latin America, Brazil 331,000. Wow, it's a lot. South Korea, everywhere there are shortages. What does this tell you? This tells you that this career called cybersecurity professional, it is not just meant for you to work in Malaysia. So if you aspires to go globally and work overseas and be able to travel, to bring your parent overseas, or even to stay permanently overseas, you are looking for opportunity to become a permanent resident somewhere, say like in Germany, Canada, or Australia. This is a good career path to take. Okay, when I'm speaking to you, I have been to Africa. I never thought that I'm going to serve Africa for 7 years. I was working in Africa for 7 years, literally speaking. I was working in Middle East, in Oman to be exact, for 1 year plus. I was able to travel around the world with this career. So I visited almost uh, uh, half of the countries in the world. So I guess this is a nice career for you to travel as well. So when you enter the university, please break your mindset that you're going to just stay in Malaysia. And to the parents, please do not just limit your sons and daughters to just work in Malaysia. Be prepared for them to go beyond borders. Okay, right? I think Malaysian, or especially if you are, I'm a Malay, and if you are a Malay, for instance, it has been a historical that the navigator of uh, Magellan, Ferdinand Magellan, that found United States was a Malay. So I think naturally we used to be travelers. I think we lost that acumen, that spirit for quite some times. I do not know why. What happened? Maybe there's some issues there, but I think let's encourage our younger generation to travel, see the world. They get smarter and they become wiser. Right, cybersecurity workforce gap by region, if you want to see globally, at 2020, last year, 3.12 million. I don't think they fill up the gap this year. And then you have Latin America, half a million, 527,000. And then Asia Pacific region, 2 million. So it's quite a lot, yeah, of job opening. Europe, 168,000. And then North America is 376,000. Okay, what do cybersecurity professional look like in terms of education? Diploma 8%, degree, associated degree 8%, bachelor degree 41, master's degree 35, doctorate 3%. All right. Computer and information sciences 49%, engineering 20%, business 10%. So what it says here, if you are entering a diploma level, that is not a point for you to rest in this career. So you have to keep on going, and with your skill sets, experience, hands-on experience, and tap into your degree and master's degrees until your doctorate. In terms of age, I think I'm the boomers type. I think I become a depleted species, 13%. I think a lot more now is millennials, Gen Z and Gen X. Welcome children, welcome sons, daughters into this field. Title health in this space, in this area. It's a lot. This title can change also depending on generation and technology circumstances. So you have an application developer, tester, CIO, CI, Chief Information Officer, Chief Information Security Officer, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Commercial Officer, Help Desk Technician, Information System Security Manager, IT Audit, IT Director, IT Manager, Security Director, Security Manager, IT Specialist, and CEO if you are owning your own company or you are building up your own company, Security Analyst, and so forth. And not to mention that now there is another domain as big as cybersecurity called privacy. Okay, that is also another duplicate of job opportunity as huge as much as cybersecurity waiting for you. Okay, top sources of cybersecurity talents. Where do we get these talents from in terms of employability? So mostly 32% are collected from the universities, graduates, right? And then we do look for those who have been consultant, contractors, working in the companies, vendors, service providers, consultants, and so forth. Cybersecurity team roles, you can become a lot of role play here. Okay, security operations, security administration, risk management, compliance group, security software development, operation technology security, penetration testing, they call it posture assessment, consulting, forensics, a lot more. Job satisfaction rate year over year, I think they are very satisfied. Is I think the dark color, the dark green is 2019, the light green is 2020. So they are maintaining almost the same, yeah, fluctuating a bit, but it depends on circumstances. But the gap is not that wide. Age and salary across position type. So for millennials, your salary can go around 67,000 US dollar, Malaysian ringgit times 4. Yeah. Gen X, 95,000 US dollar times 4. Boomers, boomers are like me, 112,000 US dollar. This one is per year, okay? Yeah. And then times 4. And then job title, role, formal cybersecurity role title, you got that much, 91,000. Unofficial cybersecurity role title, 79,000, right? So this is an average of salary range across the globe. For those who wants to be consultant, I have seen many of you aspires to be consultant, working with KPMG, working with Big Five. You know, I'm a consultant, and some of you even proud to say I'm a consultant. You know, say so if you want to work with a consultant, these are some of the data that I have here. Small to mid-size advisory firm, 40%. Large advisory firm, 23%. Independent freelancer, 23%. Large technology or tech service corporation like Serba Dynamic, 10%. Defense contractor, 2%. So type of consulting work that you do, risk management, compliance, which is not necessarily security technical. It could be also governance, security operation, security administration, operational security technology, industry focused solution, and secure software development, forensics, and so forth. Top 3 benefits of cybersecurity certificates.
Excuse me, Dato.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but your 35 minutes timestamp is now.
Is all right then. Okay, I just couple more slides to go, and then I'll finish. Okay, top 3 benefits of cybersecurity certificate. So a question that you may ask, if your entry level is diploma, how do I get myself to be accepted in the workplace with higher pay? The answer to me is, while you are taking your diploma in the university, you should start looking for reputable certificates or professional certification from cybersecurity industry, as well as uh, bodies like ISC Square, for instance. So once you have that professional certification, it's much easier for you to be absorbed in the job market, and it is much easier for you to be promoted. If you have this certification with hands-on skill, I think you don't need to go into PhD also. Even diploma degree level is good enough for you to make your to make your to make a living until the end of your life. Okay, and then you're talking about security certification held by security professional. You have CISSP, CCNAs, all this. I think you can just Google. You can get all these professional certification lists. Type of certification employers require: vendor specific, 49%, such as Microsoft or Cisco security, Microsoft security, or vendor neutrals like me, CISSP or CISM, is around that. Okay. How organization contribute to certification costs. Some organization pays for your exam, some not. So parent, please encourage your children to take these certification courses. It's not cheap though, but it opens up their prospect for their job market and be more competitive in the job market. So be prepared to do some saving, and or ask them to work part-time to earn their money to take this exam. Okay, you can the top cybersecurity skills needed. I think there's a lot: cloud computing, risk assessment, security analysis, governance, threat intelligence, application security, engineering. I think we have these are repeated from the early slides. So with that, I thank you. If you want to know more about cybersecurity, please visit ESPC Serba Dynamic. Is we call e-security and privacy channel at www.espc2go.com. There's a lot more information there. Keep yourself active there. I think that is the beginning of your career in cybersecurity. By being the family, attach yourself closely with ESPC channel. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dato. I'm gonna remove
Done.
your slides. Yeah, so now it's just us. Thank you so much, Dato, for that. Now we can go ahead with the Q&A. Dato, if you can see on your right hand side in the comment section.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see if you scroll down, there'll be a bunch of questions. We can entertain some of them now.
And the comment, is it?
Yes, and the comment. Yeah, you can choose your pick.
Okay. Okay, let me see. Question from Gia: how well paid are professionals in the cybersecurity industry? I have flashed you the slides just now, so I will not talk about it anymore. And then a question from Amar: technology advances so quickly. Will what I learned in university be outdated by the time I graduate? It's not going to be that fast. So once you graduate, it is not going to be outdated. But 5 years after you graduate, it will be outdated if you are not into it. If you are not hands-on, and if you are not into it, 5 years down the road, you are out actually. So you need to relearn, unlearn, relearn. Yes, I think I have been relearning myself for the entire 30 years of my life, always throwing out what I have learned before. I started with Fortran programming, Pascal, COBOL. Where is all that? None existent anymore, and now we're talking about DevOps. You're talking about Python. There's a lot different languages already. So if you want to become forever young, this is the best career, because everything will change after 5 years. And if you are a person that like to get bored easily, this is the best career, because you can never get bored because you have to always learn new things. Okay. Next question from Liana Rose.
Mm.
Cybersecurity jobs generally stressful? The answer is, which job is not stressful? Tell me.
True.
Even even the prime minister job is also stressful. You know that? Uh, he has no time. He has the power. He has the money. He has no time. Okay, so it's a very stressful for him. So with us, the answer is yes. It is stressful because technology changes, threat landscape is changing, opportunity changes, economic changes, political changes, surrounding changes, life changes. You know,
Mm.
you are when you are solo, you are lighter, and suddenly along the way of your life, you got loaded with five in the family that you have to feed. Of course, it's going to be very stressful. You know, to pay the tuition fees for the universities is not cheap. So of course it's going to be stressful. So variation of stress will be there, but you have to manage it. You have to be able to manage it. Take it easy, be happy, and always be positive and becoming contributor to the humankind. So I think then you all should be okay. Okay. Next, Sarah Tan says, assuming I am cybersecurity professional, don't assume you will. If a company I work for is hacked, will it damage my career? Will I be accountable for this? Of course, you will be accountable for that. You are paid to stop that from happening. Yeah. So either you get fired or your boss get fired. So either way, somebody has to be made accountable, right? So if you are just enrolling it, being given a small scope of work, definitely your boss will got fired. If I'm the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, I'm answerable to the board, to the CEO. He said, either I go, the CEO will say to me, either I go or you go. You know, the board needs somebody to go. So make a choice. He said, definitely I cannot go because I'm the CEO, and you have to go because you are the CISO. So you are constantly challenged by this kind of responsibility. You can get fired, but even though if you are being fired, don't be despair. Life is not like exams, fail and pass. You can always come back. You can always expand, learn, relearn, compete again. Don't worry about failures, okay? Keep going. Okay, next is that
Last one.
um, Tiba, the last one, Tiba Howard. Can I cope with cybersecurity or IT although I'm not good in maths? I heard coding is very hard. The answer is yes. There is no coding in it. There is no math in coding, my dear. Tiba, do not worry about maths in coding. I have never heard about maths in coding. What I know is there will be some algorithmic equation in the coding, but it will not be as complex as your Form 5 and math. After your Form 5, you can throw away all that and maths. Because when I was in Form 5, when I learned the math, I know the book, the thick book, the green book, I don't know whether they still use it now. It was so difficult. The book itself is so difficult, it's so thick. The math is so difficult, and the teacher is so lousy, and then it make me even more difficult to understand, right?
Mm.
So everything is layers of layers of layers of difficulties. So when I entered into university, a very old professor of 90 years old was teaching me again the math, and suddenly I found the math was so easy, you know. So I think the issue of difficult or easy in the math is not just about you. It's not just about me, ourselves. It is also about teachers, how the teacher teach. It is also about the writer of the book, how they present the subject. So there's a lot
Exactly.
more issues there. So do not be worried about that. Okay, life can go on as long as you can count money or salary, and I think the time, the tuition fee that you have to pay, do not miss. I think you're okay. You should be okay. Okay,
That
any question?
I have one on that subject of the AdMaths one. So could you say that a student doesn't necessarily have to take AdMaths, like they don't necessarily have to be in the science stream to pursue computer science in university?
Okay, maths is very important for engineering. So if you are into engineering, yes, you need to apply the maths. Okay, but if you are not that good in that maths, you can take computer science. Computer
Right.
science is less intense than the engineering subjects in terms of the usage of maths. uh,
Right.
it's much more logical thinking rather than difficult math. It's just logical maths. Okay, so you
Right.
can shift from engineering to computer science, and then if you are not good in maths, it's also fine. You can still be as a cybersecurity professional because there are areas where you don't need maths at all. It is called the governance, risk, and this. Auditing and all that. There are compliance audit which doesn't require you to have maths. So if you are, let's say, if you are a creative guy, you are even welcome. You can even take first your first diploma, for example, digital creative design. You can start with that, or you can combine digital creative design and cybersecurity diploma. You combine the two, you become a wow of the day, because under cybersecurity now they have the concept called visualization. You have
Right.
technical data. How many people understands technical data? I think only the technical guys understand that
Yeah.
language. Other than that, nobody else, right, understood that. So how do you communicate to those who are not
Mm,
from cybersecurity technical domain? You need visualization. You need
yes.
hologram. You watch movie like avatars, like Star Trek, like animated movies. All that are applicable in cybersecurity as well, because you have cybersecurity awareness, you have cybersecurity education, you have
Mm-hmm.
cybersecurity visualization, uh, simulation. You're talking about
Yes.
cyber drill. You have to simulate how the attack happen. It's just like a war game. Whatever you see in the movie, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Metric, metric. Yes, yes, yes. You can become
Yeah.
also a film director, like the one that built the Matrix. It's also
Right.
fine.
Yeah. All right.
Nice, huh?
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I learn more about computer science when I watch Matrix as well, because I'm not familiar with computer science at all, but coaching
Someone is
Matrix
asking a
was
question,
that.
Nina. Nina,
Sorry.
One more question down there.
Yeah.
Kyrie,
Last one.
what's that? Okay. How is the current cybersecurity state in Malaysia currently? Bad. The cybersecurity state in Malaysia is bad. It's not there yet. It's only hype to be there. To me, there's a lot of room to improve at all
Mm,
levels, from the political level, governance level, governments level, corporate level, business level, association level, school level, up to parent level. Everybody is bad. I think we are
yeah.
very bad. And we are not there. We are not there yet. Okay. Child online protection. How many of us know and care about it? How many of you know about the term called sharenting, oversharenting?
Oh
You know what
no.
sharenting is? It's a new cybersecurity term. If you are sharing your family members, let's say a parent, you are sharing your kids, your babies' information on the Facebook. It is called sharenting. But there is a problem with sharenting. When you are over sharenting, you are creating a threat to your family, because somebody
Right.
going to somebody going to exploit that information and make your family member become less advantageous in certain
Right.
areas.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
you can shape, you can become, they can create the cyber bully, and that's another subject to talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
Do
So.
companies recognize the importance of such roles that have generated enough of a job demand with adequate pay similar to those of Western countries? We are not as there as the Western countries. We are catching up. We are almost there. Right?
All right.
So we are not far. We are not far. That's why I'm saying to you, when you prepare for this job, it's not for you to work in Malaysia only. It's for you to travel to the rest of the world. Enjoy yourself in the United States. Go to England. Go to German. All those places you want to go. Or for me, I didn't go to that places because I was there. I went to Africa. You know, so do like that. Okay, okay.
It is it is essentially a very lucrative field. It basically computer cybersecurity and computer science itself.
Yeah, you may not become Syed Mukhtar. You may not become the top 10 billionaires in Malaysia, but you can have a happy life for
Hmm.
sure. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's all the questions we have for today, Dr. Dato. Thank you so much for joining us. You shared some very important information on the cybersecurity and also how prevalent it is in Malaysia as well. I hope that the audience has gained some valuable information from this session. Thank you again. Have a good day, Dato. I hope to see you again in the next VF, the next Virtual Education Fair, the next webinar if you'd have us again.
All right. If you want to communicate with me, anybody, you can just go to the portal ESPC, e-security and privacy channel. Then I'm there. You
Hmm.
just info at espc2go.com, or you go to the portal. I'm ready to answer any questions.
All right.
Anything you want.
All
Thank
right.
you very much
Thank you.
for the time.
Thank you so much, Dato. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
You too. Everybody, thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, so there we have it from Dato Hussein sharing with us on cybersecurity. To those who watch in, thank you so much for joining us for Dato Hussein Jastri of UNIMY. Don't forget to check out UNIMY's virtual booth at the Virtual Education Fair. Click on the programs, scholarships, the brochures. Yeah, you can do that all at the fair. Up next, we'll have Dato Dr. Sukumar Mahesan from RCSI UCD Malaysia campus. We'll be sharing with you everything there is to know about medicine as a career choice. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned for more. Oh, I think our speakers already in the stream. I'm gonna bring up Dato Sukumar. I'm gonna bring you up into the stream now. Hi, Dato.
Hi, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
All right, great. For those of you who just joined in, good afternoon. Welcome to our EduAdvisor webinar series. I'll be your host for today. My name is Nina, and right now we have Dato Dr. Sukma Mahesan. He's an associate professor in the Public Health Department at RCSI UCD Malaysia campus. Now he'll be sharing with us about medicine as a career choice. Welcome to our webinar series, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. I see that you have your slides prepared. Before we dive into that, I'm going to give the audience a quick background about our esteemed speaker today. Dato Sukumar had served the government sector in various capacities, namely the district specialist state hospitals and the Ministry of Health. He held the position of hospital director in 3 district hospitals, 1 major specialist hospital, and 2 state hospitals. He was also the deputy state health director of Penang and was in the Malaysia Armed Forces. Dato Sukumar retired as the Penang State Health Director in 2017 and is currently the Associate Professor in the Public Health Department at RCSI UCD Malaysia campus. All right. Are you prepared for your topic for today, Dato?
Yes, I shall
Okay.
start.
Yeah, if you can start now. I'll just share your slides into the screen now. Okay, you can full screen that and I will leave you to it.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Dr. Sukuma Maisen. I will begin with some explanation on career planning and then specifically to the medical profession. As you are aware, career planning is actually the self-evaluation and planning done by a person or an individual to have a strong career path. And as you reach the finality of your secondary or higher school education, I'm sure many of you would have an ambition to pursue and fulfill your career goal. And yet, some of you may be undecided and keeping your options open. There are many options of career planning and career pathway, and therefore it is very important and also very pertinent to undergo the process of discovering educational training and professional opportunities that suit your passion and goals. And as you know, there are various career pathways that you can take. You can take a career pathway being a professional or a paramedical or a support staff or an allied professional staff and so on. Now, let's start with what is career planning. Career planning actually is just a goal that you desire to achieve in any selected field, occupation, or a job with a very well thought out plan to get there. And to have a goal, then you should then have in tandem your objective, your vision, and your mission statements. And career planning is a lifelong process and includes choosing an occupation, getting a job, growing into our job, and slideshow. Yes, sir. I clicked the slideshow. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, can you hear me, or is my slides coming on?
Yeah, that is coming on.
Oh, my slides are coming on. Okay, thank you. Because I got a call saying that my slides are not coming on.
Oh, okay, but it is.
It is, sir? Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so career planning is a lifelong process which includes choosing an occupation, getting a job, growing in a job, and also retaining in a job, and sometimes possibly changing careers and eventually retiring. So in career planning, you ask these questions: who are you, or who are we? And where are you now? And what do you want to do? How do you want to develop yourselves in 1, 2, 5, or 10 years? That's a vision that you need to have. And how can you get there eventually? And career planning basically is about 4 important steps. That's knowing about yourself. That is information and knowledge about yourselves. And once you know that, then you look into the labor market, the external assessment, that is labor market opportunities. And once you have assessed internally and externally, then you find the right match for you, okay? And once you have found the right match of the type of career pathway that you want to take, then you have to make it happen. That is being proactive and making it happen. Effective career planning is about finding a job that works for you. And in this, you have to match who you are and to the life you are going to lead. This is very important. As a hospital director, I've come across many young doctors when they join housemanship and who don't have this match about who they are and the life that they wanted to live. And I'll come to some examples later. Now, knowing how to survive in a changing economy is important because as individuals, you are responsible for your career path. Of course, you will get a lot of support and advice from the lay people and also from family people. And you have to know that a college degree does not guarantee employment, but it sure helps gives options. And individuals.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but you're not sharing the screen that you're presenting on. Perhaps, yeah, I think you'll need to click every slide that you move on to.
Every slide that I want to. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is this okay now here?
Yeah, this is okay. But when you're moving, I think you have to click every slide. Like that. Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I just don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do you think I should start from?
Just now you were. Yeah, you can start from here. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with career planning. Okay.
Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. I will repeat. Career planning is a goal that you desire to achieve in a selected field or occupation with a well thought out plan. And for a goal, you need to have a objective, a vision, and a mission statement. And career planning basically is a lifelong process. It includes in temporal sequence, choosing an occupation, getting a job, growing and retaining in the job, possibly changing careers and eventually retiring. Now, what is career planning? Career planning is about asking some questions within yourself. Who are you? Where are you now? And what do you want to achieve in the years ahead with a vision and how we can get there? And career planning basically is about 4 important steps. The first one is internal assessment. That is information and knowing about yourself. And once you made that assessment, then you look at the labor market and opportunities. That's the external assessments. Now, knowing both of this, then we find the right match for ourselves. And finally, we make important decisions. That is being proactive and making it happen. Now, career planning is just not about career planning, but you need to have an effective career planning. Now, this means that you have to find a job that works for you, and it has to match who you are and also the life that you are going to lead. That is important. It's not only about the job, but it's about the life that you're going to lead and hope to aspire. And we have to know how to survive in a changing economy because it's very dynamic. Individuals are responsible for your career path, and a college degree does not guarantee employment, but it sure helps give options. And we must accept risk that accompany employment and also plan for the future and always be committed to lifelong learning or lifetime learning that will help keep an individual employable. Now, these are the basic steps in career planning processes. The first step is to explore yourself, that is knowing yourself. The second one is to explore the work world, that is exploring your options. The third one is to make decisions and then set goals, that is making decisions. And finally, it is action, that is moving on. When you explore yourself, you need to gather information about yourself. That's about what we call self-assessment. Now you have to look at your interests. What are your interests? What are your values? What roles do you want to play? Now let's take an example for interests. Are you interested in science or arts or technical aspects or even outdoor activities? What values do you have? Do you have values of compassion? Do you have values of empathy? Do you have values of loving people? Then maybe you should go into a profession that has humane concepts like medical professions, example. Okay. Now, what role do you want to play in your job? Do you want to be a leader or you want to be a subordinate? Or do you want to have a single enterprise? You want to work alone? Or you want to be a team player? Or do you like to be a manager or administrator? Or in the medical field, do you want to be a clinical specialist? And what skills and aptitudes that you have? Do you have technical skills? Do you have interpersonal skills? Do you have conceptual skills? And what kind of environment that you like to pursue? Do you like external or internal environment? Or do you want a stay put environment? Or some people like to explore and move around. Do you want to have an environment that is safe and comfortable, that's very predictable? Or do you like to go into a risky environment? Okay. And what are your development needs? What skills? Do you need technical skills, interpersonal skills, or conceptual skills? And what are the realities? Realities in the sense that in terms of economics, do you have the finance backing for further educations? Do you have the required intellect and educational background to pursue further? Family commitment, family support is very important. So these are the things that you need to explore within yourself, that is self-assessment. Now, after that, you explore the work world, that is occupation. To choose a career, you gather career information. Let's say you want to do medicine. So you have to look at the employment outlook of medicine. What is the salary like? What is the salary like in the public sector or even the private sector, the increments and so on? What are related occupations? Some people, if you want to do paramedical, you don't want to become a doctor, you want to become a paramedical, then you can become a physiotherapist. And what are the related occupations in physiotherapists? You can become an occupational therapist, things like that, which in the rehabilitative field. And what are your job duties that entail the occupation that you choose? And what are the job specifications? And what education and training that you need to do, to undergo to reach your aspirations? For this, exploring the world, you can get these information from various resources like individual counseling, advisors and professionals, career resource centers. You can attend career and job fairs. You can register for career and life exploration classes from professional associations, from the library, from internet contacts and networks, from newspapers, from professional associations, etc. Now, after you make your internal and external assessment, then you make a decision and set your goals, okay? During this phase of process, you will identify the possible occupations. Then you evaluate these occupations, explore alternatives, and choose both a short-term and long-term option. And once you have done that, then you make it happen. You take action. So in this, you must source additional training and education you need. So to become a doctor, of course, you want to go to medical school. And whether you want to go directly into the medical school with a higher level education, or do you want to go for a foundation course, and from a foundation course, you enter the medical school. And when you qualify, then you have to develop a job search strategy. But in Malaysian context, if you're a doctor, then you automatically will be given a housemanship placement in the government hospitals. But for other occupations, then you probably have to look at a proper job search strategy, where how to enter the government service or how to enter the private sector and the different aspects of the private sector. And you need to have some skills like writing a resume, gathering company information, composing cover letters, or preparing for job interviews. So there are some job search skills that is needed. That is like resume writing, job search strategies, effective interviewing, and negotiating. Now, what values are important in a job? Some people look for advancement. They want to get a job and they want to advance to a level that they aspire. Some people like creativity. So you want to become an artist, or you want to become an interior designer. That is creativity. Some people look at status. They want a job where there's a status. And some people like jobs that they have independence. Like even as a doctor, you can work either in a hospital with a team, or you can go to the private sector and open up a GP clinic and work as an independent doctor. And then some people, financial reward is very important as a value. They want a financial reward for it, and they want financial incentives. And many people also, we have noticed, like a job that has work and life balance. Just being a hospital director, had many doctors who have excelled very well in their school exams, and they were given JPA scholarships to go overseas, and they come back as doctors, but they don't pursue a specialist course. They just become a doctor maybe in a clinic, in a government clinic, or in the health clinic, because they want a balance between their work and life. Life means maybe family, or what they wish to do after 5 o'clock. So there's a work-life balance. Of course, there are some people who are totally dedicated to their profession. They come to the hospitals in the morning, afternoon, and night, and they're very, very focused on their job. And some people have values that they like to do research. There are many doctors, after passing out as housemanship and medical officers, they join the research sector, like the clinical research Malaysia, or in all the big hospitals, we have a clinical research center. Some people like to have a job that has power. But power itself, there are many types of power. One's a legitimate power. That is, if you're a hospital director, because the government appointed you, then that's a legitimate power. Some people have power because they are experts in their field. So automatically they have that power. Some people are so charismatic that they are very powerful. Many of our politicians, if you're very charismatic, you become powerful. There's also another power called referent power. Because you know your subject matter well, people refer to you. Okay. Some people like a job that they want to work with others. Some people look for a job because of security, like in the Maslow hierarchical of needs. Some people just want the second level, that's security, something that is safe, with maybe a fixed income and a predictable life. And some people look for a job because of location. You you join a job because you want to work in one particular place and you don't want to move around. Or some people like jobs which there's a lot of variety. So there's a lot of values and career values, and what is important in a job differs from individuals, from individual to individual. Okay, now let me come to a medical career. Okay, now
Dr. Sukuma.
Yes.
So sorry. There's been a request for you to show your slide speaker. Do you think do you can just go on the full screen?
I put in the slide sorter.
Yeah, because right now it looks like we can still see the insides of your slides, but if you make it to full screen, it'll just show the slides that you're on.
Okay, what about this? Can you see this?
No, it's still, yeah, I can, but it's still showing the numbering of slides at the side.
Oh, I tried to do the slide sorter, but it's coming out only this. I can just see this in my screen.
Oh, can you click full screen? Like when you change it into full screen mode.
How do I do that? Full screen, I go to slideshow. Full screen, wait, let me have a look.
It's at the bottom, yeah, one of those.
I got a slide sorter.
The slide solo?
Slide?
Solo. Oh, that's slide sorter.
Slide sorter and slideshow I got.
Okay, can you click on the slideshow?
Slideshow, I pressed the slideshow, but y'all are not seeing it.
Okay. There is another step to do this, but it'll require you to unshare your screen first, and then
okay, let's see now. Please click slideshow. I put a slideshow, but y'all are not seeing it.
Yeah, we're not seeing this. So perhaps you'll have to unshare your screen. Go on PowerPoint. Click on the full screen mode, and then share it again on StreamYard and the application window.
Okay, then I go back. Then I start my sharing again, right?
Yeah, you have to go on full screen first on PowerPoint.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm going to full screen PowerPoint. 1 minute, please.
Yes.
But I'm going to slideshow, on PowerPoint.
It's slideshow. But based on what we're seeing, it's not like the full screen. It just looks like you have a small screen with like mini sites on the side. So it might not be clear for the audience to see what's exactly on the slide.
Okay. Wait 1 minute. Custom slideshow. I'm having problem in this, Present slideshow. Full screen, huh? How do I go to full screen? Just give me a minute.
No worries.
Anisha.
All right. So while we wait for Dr. Sukumar to come back and get his screen fixed, in the meantime, I will show you guys what RCSI and UCD have prepared for us.
It started as a childhood dream. It then developed into a calling. What do you see in medicine? We see happiness. We see hope.
RCSI and UCD Malaysia campus is a fairly unique medical school in Malaysia. Obviously, our students get a great experience in high quality research universities in Dublin. We have a great opportunity within Penang. First of all, they get very high quality doctors teaching them at Penang Hospital, Seberang Jaya, and several other hospitals across the region. But secondly, they get the opportunity to be able to talk to lots of other different people and to examine different patients. It is great for their training in that it gives them lots and lots of experience, which is what you need to develop skills over a period of time.
Let us guide you towards your dream career, because at RUMC, realizing your dream is our goal.
I want to be able to help,
to care,
and to improve the quality of life.
We aim to become the benchmark for delivering excellent medical education in Malaysia with cutting-edge innovations, conducive learning environment, and unrivaled access to quality clinical training.
The RCSI UCD Malaysia campus provide those first formative years of your medical education. Our strong connection with Malaysia is a source of great pride for the UCD School of Medicine. Students from RUMC bring with them an academic, cultural and social diversity that enriches and enlivens the fabric of the school and the university.
The mix of training in Dublin for half of the programme and moving to excellent clinical training facilities in Penang is a great mix of both worlds. It sets up RCSI graduates for many high-quality career opportunities. We have one purpose, and that is to educate and graduate the next generation of healthcare leaders who will make a difference worldwide.
Our uniquely designed program broadens the mind and expands the horizon, providing a fair balance between excellent academic achievements and invaluable life experience. Our students are not only passionate and motivated in healthcare, we believe in touching lives beyond learning. More than just a university, we aspire to inspire. We strive to make a difference via our vast network of high-ranking graduates.
We have a program that actually delivers that extremely high quality of education, and actually they end up having a degree that is recognised internationally, given by the National University of Ireland. So their degree enables them to travel around, do training in many parts of the world and work in different countries if that's what they intend to do after graduation.
We emphasize on a holistic approach in teaching and learning medicine. We value diversity. All these by bridging the best of both worlds. Embark on a timeless journey in medicine that opens the door to limitless possibilities at RCSI and UCD Malaysia Campus, RUMC.
All right, so that's there you have it, RCSI UCD Malaysia Campus. Now Dr. Skuma is back into the stream. I'll just pull him up real quick.
Okay.
Hi, Doctor.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Sorry for the technical issues. I don't have technical skills. I may have conceptual skills and interpersonal skills, but not technical skills in particular.
Yeah, it's okay. You have your slides prepared here, and it's in full screen mode.
Yes.
I will share it up, and then you can continue presenting, Doctor.
Sure.
All right. Okay, your slide is on the screen now.
Okay, so I just spoke some introductory slides on the career development, which basically is doing a self-assessment about yourself, doing an external self-assessment, that is looking at job opportunities in the environment, and then making decisions, and finally being proactive and make it happen. So that basically is applicable for anyone who wants to pursue an occupation or a career pathway. Now, specifically, I would like to come into the occupation of a medical career. Now, is a medical career in medicine right for you? That's a question. And we have many students who want to become doctors because it's a very popular career. And choosing a career, as I've said before, is a very important decision to make. Why choose to pursue medicine? If you ask yourself, most respond that they want to make a difference by helping people and also positively impacting their lives through healthcare. This would be a very ideal statement to make. Whether if you pursue or you want to pursue a career to become a doctor, you really want to help people, and you really want to have a positive impact on their lives, and you have that ideals or that values within you, then taking a career in medicine probably is the right way to go. But then again, there are many people who pursue a career of medicine for various reasons. Some people look at it because it's a very secure job, financial rewards, some because there's some they feel that it's a very noble profession, and of course many take up medicine because of peer pressure, either from families, things like that. So there are many reasons why people take medicine. Is it for the right reason, or is it because they really want to help people and positively impact the lives through the healthcare system? Now, so the same question we ask, serving others as a doctor is a very noble and challenging way where you can invest your intellect, your skills, and your passion in a very demanding but yet a rewarding profession. So if you have enough intellect or even a satisfactory intellect and you have skills, and these skills I'm talking about is not only technical or skills, but also interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills is a very important skills to become a doctor, because you must learn how to have an interpersonal relationship with your patients, how to communicate with them effectively and in a compassionate manner. And also you must have a passion to become a doctor. And you have that, then you can invest all these attributes working as a doctor in a very noble and challenging way and in a very demanding environment, but you will have your rewards. The rewards, it is not something that is tangible, but you have a lot of intangible rewards. Intangible because when you see people get better or when patients say thank you very much, it's all intangible rewards. Rewards need not really be something that you see like financial rewards, things or promotions. Intangible rewards are just as important. And a career in medicine is a career of service. It requires a commitment that is very unique to put the service of others at first. That's why there's always a saying in hospital, the patient is always right. Okay, and you must have the knowledge. And being a doctor, you are lifelong learners, always acquiring new skills and learning new information. And you must work as a team. Physicians must be effective communicators and collaborators for problem solvers, and you work as a team. So if you're a doctor in a ward, in a hospital ward, then you work with your fellow doctors, with the specialists, with the nurses, with the matrons, with the allied health staff like radiographers, occupational therapists, with the attendants, etc. You work as a team to solve problems. And as a doctor, there's an aspect of contribution because you impact the lives of individuals, families, and communities. Even when you treat a patient in a ward, you are impacting the life of the patient. You're also impacting the life of the patient's family members, the visitors who come and see the patient, and even the community if you're in the public health sector. And a career of medicine is flexible because there are many career options for physicians ranging from primary care to research. I'll come to it later. There are very many options when you become a doctor, whether you want to go into the clinical field or you want to go into the non-clinical field. Within the clinical field, whether you want to be hospital-based or you want to do community health in the public health sector, or whether you like to go and do training and educating, or whether you like to do research. So there are very many opportunities just by being a doctor. And even if you're a specialist, whether you want to become a general specialist or a subspecialist. And it provides security because physicians are always in high demand as healthcare needs continue to rise and evolve. In the Ministry of Health, we have something called corporate culture. That is, as a doctor, you need to show professionalism, the value of professionalism, the value of teamwork, and the value of caring. These three main values: professionalism, teamwork, and caring. And this is the one they advocate for all Ministry of Health to pursue, to provide optimal care to patients in a compassionate manner. Now, becoming a doctor, a career in medicine involves the care of the ill, the infirm, and the injured, and it's a humane profession and classified as a very noble profession. Why become a doctor? Just as I've said before, some people want to become a doctor because of status and respect, okay? And some people want a stable career, that's why they become a doctor. And there's always need for good doctors. And if you're a doctor, you have global recognition if you are, and allows movement from place to place. You have diverse career opportunities. You can get involved in research and development. You're able to work with people. You can work with people, the ability to help people, works with colleagues in a team, and make a difference in people's life. And also you can dwell yourself in teaching and educating. So in a nutshell, to become a doctor, it's a sense of calling and duty to people. If you have a sense of calling and duty to people, then you become a doctor. Now, who is a doctor? A doctor is a medically qualified person and from a recognized university and who has been registered and given the credentials and privilege to work in a facility, and whose work is to promote and educate health, that is the promotion part, prevent diseases, diagnose and treat the sick, relieve suffering and distress while providing and care and support for their family. Here what I call the spectrum of your duties as a doctor that can encompass primordial care, primary care, that is treating people before they get a disease, primary care, or at the first level of care, or you can have a secondary level, that means when diagnosing diseases very early and providing treatment, or it can go into investigatory care, investigating patients, and can even go into rehabilitative care. That means when patients have advanced diseases, you're treating. So there's a spectrum of primary, secondary, tertiary, investigatory, and rehabilitative care. A doctor can provide services at different levels. Now, the doctor is knowledgeable in medicine, and he's responsible for not only the patient, but to the community. And he can even be involved in patient management in a hospital, and he can take up both clinical or administrative role or non-clinical role, and also be involved in medical education, medical research, and planning and implementation of local and national programs. So we have many types of doctors in the Ministry of Health, for example. Like in the hospital level, you have doctors in the clinical field, in the departments. We have your houseman, then you have your normal medical officers, you have specialists, and you have subspecialists. Then you also have doctors in the administrative section who are like hospital directors, deputy hospital directors, etc. Then you also have doctors in other support disciplines, like doctors in the quality or doctors in charge of occupational health. And you also have doctors in the clinical supports like radiology or pathology. Doctors do work there. So you have doctors there. These are just a hospital base. Then you also have doctors in the primary health, in the health clinics. Either you're a district health officer, or you can be a normal medical officer in health, or you can be a family medicine specialist. You also have doctors in clinical research. You have doctors also who teach, like me. After I'm retiring, I teach students in a university. So there are various roles that you can play as a doctor. Questions you ask when considering a career in medicine. What types of physicians are needed? Actually, all types of physicians are needed to care for the health of the public, whether it's hospital-based or public health-based. And you have generalists, specialists, public health, administrative, research, education, and so forth. And so, because of that, you have in your career pathway to become a doctor, you will come across career crossroads on what you want to pursue. So after your housemanship 2 years, you will have an inkling on what you want to do, and then you have to do 2 years of compulsory medical officer posting. Then you have an inkling what would you like to pursue from there. Now, what do doctors do? These are some of salient points only. They examine, they diagnose and treat patients. Okay, they alleviate the pain and suffering in patients. They also administer and prescribe medications. Okay, they do record keeping. The surgical-based doctors perform surgery. and minor procedures. Importantly, all doctors should counsel patients, family on health matters. And if you're in the health sector, then you'll be involved in maternal and child health or implementation of family planning programs. You prevent and control communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases, vector-borne diseases. You can also be involved in occupational health. And all healthcare workers should disseminate public medical education. And if you're in the administrative section, you can plan and implement health programs. And if you're in the research, then you can do the research activities. So these are some of the important ones being. Now, how to become a doctor from a secondary school qualifications? You can enter medical degree directly, or you can go through a pre-university qualification process that is a foundation course. Now, if you want to study medicine, you can either study medicine locally or overseas. And locally, you can join the public universities if you have the grades and the entry point, or you can join private universities and colleges. And you go overseas, it can either be government or institution funding or self-funding. Now, an example I would say is like the RCSI UCD. What RCSI UCD is known as RUMC. So what it means is, this is a medical college in Penang. It started off as the Penang Medical College, and it was the first private medical college in Malaysia. And just lately, last few years ago, it was upgraded to be a foreign university with a local college in Malaysia. So RCSI is Royal College of Surgeons, Ireland, and UCD is University College of Dublin. So RUMC, we call ourselves RUMC, and we are owned by these two very renowned universities. Okay, and the medical course encompasses 2.5 years of pre-clinical in Dublin, and then you come back 2.5 years in Penang to do your clinical. This is the course structure of RUMC. But there are many other private colleges, they have different course structures. Some people do the full pre-clinical and clinical in Malaysia. Some do the pre-clinical in Malaysia and the clinical overseas. Some you can do the full clinical overseas. So different sorts of arrangement in their training program. But this particular program is very interesting because you do the pre-clinical in Dublin in a university, in either RCSI or UCD, and then you come back and do your clinical in Malaysia, which is very appropriate and advantageous because you are trained seeing local cases. So you have the case mix of patients in Malaysia. You see a lot of tropical diseases and the case mix is very structured to your training, so that when you enter as a houseman into our training program, you have the familiarity of the case mix of patients. Okay. So in RUMC, it's highly cost-effective tuition. It's owned by RCSI and UCD. It's Irish medical education delivered transnationally, that means in Ireland and here, and is recognized by both the MMC and the National University of Ireland. And you have ample opportunities for research, and it has a worldwide career options. So the two pathways to do medicine is through a foundation in science and then going through medical degree. Okay, in the foundation in science, they have their post-secondary qualification and pre-university qualification requirements for foundation of science, and this is a pre-undergraduate pathway, so that you can study medicine, and is recognized by the medical councils of Malaysia and Ireland, and it's an early introduction to the medical and clinical field in a hospital setting. And these are the minimum entry requirements, SPM, etc. And the learning outcomes are knowledge of basic science, and you study some communication skills, language skills, lab skills, and exposures. And these are the topics that are taught in the foundation science: your physics, mathematics, chemistry, etc. Okay, and for some, and you pass this, you go into the medical program, which is the undergraduate medical program. And for this, the entry point is either through foundation or through A levels or STPM, or the others as depicted in the slides. And when you become a doctor, you'll be awarded this degree by the National University of Ireland, MB, BCH, BAO. Basically, it's Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, and Bachelor of Obstetrics. Is identical to a 5-year program in Dublin, and it offers the best of both worlds, and also scholarships are available. And these are some of the attributes of studying in RUMC in terms of facilities, expert clinical and specialist as academic faculty, networks, opportunities, training environments, standards, and international faculty. And during the preclinical in Ireland, it's similar to all the other private universities, that preclinical, you do the systems approach. And in the clinical, when you come back to Malaysia for 2.5 years, then you'll be attached to hospitals. Like, for example, for RUMC, you'll be attached to Hospital Penang, Hospital Sabang Jaya, Hospital Taiping, Hospital Bukit Bertajam, and also all the public healthcare facilities in the island. Okay, so you'll be attached to the relevant clinical departments like medicine, surgery, ONG, pediatrics, anesthesiology, emergency medicine, family medicine, radiology, psychiatry, etc., where you'll learn your clinical skills in year 3, year 4, and year 5. And when you qualify, for locals, you qualify, then you apply to the government to get a job. Then you have to go through a compulsory 2 years housemanship or training program. And after that, you become medical officers. And after that, the door is always open. If you are registered with a Malayan Medical Council and you have your certificate, then annual practicing certificate, then you have various opportunities to further undergo your training or further undergo what you hope to aspire as a doctor. And what can I become? You can become a general practitioner. You can just become a doctor and join a GP, either as a single man enterprise or a group practice. You can continue being medical officer within the government hospitals or public health facilities. You can take up specialist course either through local programs, that's what we call the masters, or you can take a parallel pathways, do overseas examination. You can become a subspecialist. Now, what do you mean by subspecialist? Let's say if you become a physician, that is a doctor for medicine, then you can subspecialize in many fields. Like you can become a cardiologist, or you can become an endocrinologist, or you can become a rheumatologist, or you can do internal medicine specialist, or you can become a geriatrician, that means treating the old, or you can do palliative care, that is taking care of advanced cancers. So just within being a physician, you have many opportunities. Let's say you are a surgeon, then you can subspecialize in being a cardiothoracic surgeon, or a urologist, or a neurosurgeon, and so on. There are many subspecialist programs that the Ministry of Health has. If you don't want to be in a clinical field, you can become an administrator, or you can go to the public health site and become a district health officer or family medicine specialist. Some people do research. There's a section where doctors also attach called traditional and complementary medicine. This is interesting because this traditional and complementary medicine facilities are also available in some of Ministry of Health hospital. Example, in Penang, in Kepala Batas Hospital, we have a traditional and complementary medicine unit where they give Chinese medications for cancer. They give post-delivery massage and also acupuncture. So we're incorporating traditional and complementary medicine with some evidence base into our formal healthcare structure. You can join the telehealth division in the Ministry of Health, or you can do medical legal or medical legal practices. You can be administrators at the planning and development division, or you can even do education. You can train, you'll be lecturers or trainers, etc. So there are many opportunities, whether clinical or non-clinical, or whether clinical, training, or research. Okay. Now, there are many advantages and disadvantages to help you evaluate your career choice. The advantage would be your ability to provide service to others, to save life. You have continuous learning, opportunity to appreciate medical science. You can teach. It's very rewarding. You can earn respect. You have a decent salary and a high status occupation. But at the same time, you have some disadvantages. Some people have to go to debt because they have to invest money into the education. The education process is a long process. And sometimes you need to get a process to get your license, that's annual practicing certificate. It can be difficult at times and stressful, but being stressful too, there are two types of stress, as you know. It can be a positive stress, just as anything in life, there's stress. And you can manage the stress, then it's called a eustress. But don't let it become a negative stress and become a distress. It can be time consuming and it involves long hours, and you need a great deal of responsibilities. So it's important to note the several pros and a few cons that should make your decision easy, but sometimes the cons are significant enough to make the decision particularly difficult. And if you come into that aspect, then it's a good idea to sign up with a placement or spend some time shadowing doctors so that you don't get disillusioned with the occupation that you are pursuing. Okay. Now, as you weigh your career options, take time to reflect how the opportunities, preference, and talents that you possess compare with the demands and benefits of a medical career. You need to find a balance of your intellect, of your skills, your passion, with that of the demands and benefit of a medical career. Okay. Now, it's good to dream big, but it's a big crime not to dream about your career. And dreams are not what you have during sleep. Dreams are those that don't let you sleep. Now, you have to make a career choice that leads to your goals. And a career depends on a healthy start. That is a healthy base. Now, tips for youngsters to be mindful: careers are not about jobs. It's about a sense of purpose, a meaning, and difference that you would want to make in society. And you have to set some risks which are doable. Where we stand today, what is expected in the future, what we have to do to reach the future. And risks are involved in all types of careers. Never be scared of competition. Leverage your competitive advantage. Always believe in yourself and prioritize your future learning. Now, in conclusion, you need to have a roadmap of how you want to reach and attain your aspirations and dreams, and not to get disappointed. That is very important, so that you can achieve what you want to be, and by taking certain decisions that are important, by understanding yourself, the external environment, and finding the right job or occupation with a very well thought out plan. So with that, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. I'll stop sharing your slide. All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was very insightful. We're already nearing the end of our session. We can do a quick Q&A session. Let's take a look and see the question from our audience. Doctor, if you just look at the right hand side of the panel under comments, we have to scroll down.
Okay, I can see, yes.
Yeah, the first question, you can take your pick, whichever you want to answer.
Wait, let's see. Under comments, right?
Yes, under comments.
How well paid are professional cybersecurity?
You have to scroll
down. Okay, current, all is a cybersecurity. Okay, here. Wait.
Yes. From
what is this by EduAdvisor?
Yeah, so
EduAdvisor. How do you go about choosing a medical specialization?
Yes.
Is that the one? Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. How you go about choosing? Now, what is it? You enter the housemanship training program, right? And when you join a housemanship training program, you go through some compulsory disciplines like medicine, surgery, ONG, obstetrics and gynecology, and pediatrics. and then you have an option to do emergency medicine and anesthesiology, some general specialties. During this period of time, you'll have an inkling on what you like to do, whether you like to go into a medical field, or do you want to go into a surgical field, or you want to go into a obstetrics and gynecology. So you'll have some inkling. Now, this inkling also depends on the support that you have. Okay, if you're in a particular department where you have very supportive doctors and a good boss and a good working environment, that is the person, job and security, people tend to follow that specialty. What I've noticed is many people, before coming into being a doctor, they said, even at the school level, I want to become a cardiologist, or I want to be a neurosurgeon. But when they come into the system, you have people who change their minds and go into a profession either because they have a strong passion for it, or because the environment supports it. The environment supports it. So once you have an inkling of what you want to do after housemanship, then when you become a medical officer, you have to approach your administrator to say that you want to join as a medical doctor or officer in that particular department or a discipline. You might not get it immediately because for Ministry of Health, the needs outweigh the demand. So you might directly get into the particular discipline. Let's say you want to become a medical specialist, you might get medicine, or you may be sent to a district or go to a state like Sabah, Sarawak, serve the community, and after 1 year, you come back to where you want to work. Let's say you want to come back to Penang, and then you join a medical discipline. And within that, you can start applying for your master's course. Master's is a local specialist course. After a few years, you can apply, then there'll be an entrance examination, and then you pursue from that. That's basically what you go through the process. Some people do the parallel exams. That is, they do overseas examinations, okay, either in theory and then they go into practical. So the choice is there, and there is a career pathway, and there's a guideline on how to go about it. But more importantly, it's which discipline do you want to choose to pursue in the specialization. That is more important. Okay.
All right.
For your information, I'll give you an example just from experience. I have a doctor who came and saw me when I was a hospital director in Penang. He said, I want to do cardiology. So I told him that I can't put you in that particular department because it's full of doctors. I will put you to oncology first. He was a bit upset. He went to oncology. He was so happy working there. Now he's a noted oncologist in a private hospital. So, life is dynamic, So you might have a dream now, but along the way, you might have a dream, but in maybe a different dream, And the Ministry of Health is very supportive for people who want to become specialists. And for your information, if you become a specialist, yes, and then you can do 4 years of a specialist, another 4 years of subspecialization. But for some disciplines, you can come directly as a subspecialist. Just 4 years. So for neurosurgery, for plastic and reconstructive surgery, and clinical oncology, you can do the subspecialization directly. That means you don't have to become a surgeon and then for 4 years and then do 4 years for neurosurgery. You can join this. Why? Because these three disciplines, we didn't have enough specialists. So they decided to do a fast track to become a subspecialist.
I see. Okay. Shall we do the next questions?
How much do doctors and specialists make? I think they have quite a favorable pay. You talk about doctors, I can't say much. When you say a doctor, during my time, when I joined service in 83, a doctor pay was $1,000. Okay. And, right now, doctors, you're paid well, and your promotion is very fast. It's now time for promotion. So you enter at a grade U41. Within 8 years, you are a U54. U54, you get a very good pay. You get about 10,000 odd pay. You can travel business class, etc. So the government is very kind to doctors, extremely kind to doctors. And then on top of that, it's not only your pay, but you get from your calls. You got call duties, you're paid. If you do medical records, you're paid. You're also allowed to do locum outside, with the permission of the government. So the pay is it's quite a satisfactory pay, I would say, and you can lead a comfortable life. Okay, but more importantly, it's the service comes before the pay. But it's a good pay.
True.
Compared to other professions, that's quite difficult. Okay, now, do all students who pursue medicine, that is by Melina,
Yes.
end up becoming doctors and dentists? What options can students consider if they change? Of course, when you do medicine, either you do a medical career or you do dental. You know, become a doctor, you join a medical college and do your medicine. To become a dentist, you don't join a dental college. Okay. Now, definitely, when you pass out, you become doctors, right? And you can pursue becoming doctors. But when I was a director in Hospital Klang, I've had a few doctors who came back, and there was one who, after 6 months, he became very disillusioned with the system. He left housemanship and he became a writer. There's others who have pursued. A few of them have left the profession and done what they like to do. Okay, done what like to do. But if you're a doctor, then you're a doctor. Okay. What options can they change their mind? You can change. You can, if you're a doctor and you think you have issues with being clinical, you don't want to do clinical, then you can do a non-clinical. You're a doctor, but you do non-clinical duties. You can become an educator, you can become a researcher, or you can join disciplines within the hospitals that don't see patients, like quality, quality division, or you can become an administrator. There is options of within the hospital for non-clinical. There is, But if you don't want to become a doctor, then you probably have to resign and do what you like to do. Okay?
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that students with a medical degree can also pursue jobs in the medical field that's not necessarily a doctor, right?
You are still a doctor, but you don't do clinical.
I see.
You don't do clinical. You don't see patients. You don't treat patients. You can become a researcher or educator, or within a hospital, we have some doctors who are not allowed to see patients and they join the quality unit, or they become administrators, things like that. So you basically do a lot of administrative and other work except for seeing patients.
Okay? I see. I think that's the last question we have, Doctor. Thank you so much for joining us. Your insights and perspective are very much appreciated. We hope that our audience has gained some valuable information from this session itself. Doctor, we hope to see you again in the next webinar if you will have us again.
I'll try to improve my computer skills.
Yes, I won't have that kind of issue. It's okay. It's okay.
I had to get my daughter to come and figure it out.
That's okay. But yeah, so that was a great presentation. Thank you again, Doctor, and we wish you to have a good day today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. So that's it. Thank you to our audience who joined in for our webinar session with Dr. Sukuma of RCSI UCD Malaysia campus. Don't forget to check out RCSI UCD campus at our virtual fair. Check out the courses, check out the programs, the scholarships available right at the fair right now. Up next, we'll have Mr. Shawal from International University of Malaya Wales, who will share with you everything there is to know about navigating social media and how hashtags can power social change. If you just joined us, welcome to our webinar series that's part of the EduAdvisor's Virtual Education Fair. We have an exciting lineup of speakers who will be weighing in on a variety of topics such as the overview of global security career landscape, medicine as a career choice, navigating social media and the power of hashtags, and tips and tricks in navigating your academic pathway. We have our next speaker in the stream. Mr. Shah, I'm going to pull you right in.
All right.
Hi, Shah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for this.
It's a Saturday, so. All right. So, to those of you who just joined in, my name is Nina. I'm your host for today, and right now we have Mr. Shawal, head of the School of Communication and Technology from the International University of Malaya Wales, who'll be sharing with us about navigating social media and how the Free Britney and Me Too movements powered social change. So, a little background about this esteemed speaker today. Heading the School of Communication and Technology, Mr. Shawal manages 7 programs from several fields, including communication, computer science, and information technology. He has a vast experience and specializes in media studies, media effects, journalism, social media, and communication psychology. All right. Mr. Shawal, I see your slides are here. If you're ready,
Yep.
All right, before we begin, to everyone watching, if you have any questions from Mr. Shawal, do leave your comments in respective platforms below, and we will get them answered at the end of the session. Also, don't forget to check out International University Malaya Wales virtual booth while you're at the fair. All right, Mr. Shawal, I will share your slides right now.
Okay.
All right, okay, you can present now.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good. Basically, hi. How are you? And good afternoon. And I hope you guys had, a good lunch and you guys are feeling happy, all tummy happy and all that. My name is Muhammad Shawal and I'm from the School of Communication and Technology, International University of Malaya, Wales. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining this webinar today. I can see some familiar names here, my colleagues, my boss, my friends, okay? I want to thank the organizer for inviting me to give this web talk, basically. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting one as we're discussing about something that is very new and topical. If you are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat or Reddit, I believe most of you are aware about the Me Too movement. And last year, the media is all about the Black Lives Matter movement. And this year, we have the Free Britney movement, okay? So what is the common denominator in all this conversation? Social media, okay? So today, I'll be talking about the impact of social media itself, okay? Today's webinar is titled Navigating Social Media, How the Free Britney and Me Too movements powered social change, okay? So social media platforms have long been a place for like-minded people to congregate, okay, to get together in online tribes and community to discuss everything from their favorite TV shows, to alien conspiracy theories. Okay, if you're following me on social media, I'm also pretty active in some of these discussions, okay? These platforms give users the opportunity to share and discuss their views on an open forum. The spectrum of content shared on social media that has broadened over time has given rise to a new opportunity to share news of social injustice and call agreeing users to unite in the face of inequality. The no-filter nature of social media, where users can upload content as and when, or even live stream it as it is happening, means that the possibility of seeking something shocking or disturbing is only ever a few tweets away. Okay, like what Will Smith said recently. I think recently. I think quite late last year, he said something about racism is somewhere. It's never going away, and it's not right now. It's being filmed. Okay, so it's always constantly going on. But it is this very quality of social media platforms like Twitter that can fill people with the disgust-driven passion to make positive changes in the world. The exposure of wrongdoings to the world can be captured on a mobile phone and uploaded straight to social for the world to see means holding people accountable for their wrongdoings. Okay, fundamentally, people can no longer hide. Okay, social media has quickly replaced all other media outlets in being the quickest and easiest way to consume up-to-date information on the current events. When it comes to activism, it is instrumental in circulating information to all those who might want it, getting details of protests, okay, for example, in front of millions of eyes in seconds, just by using the right keywords and the right hashtags, okay? To understand how we're here, we need to go back to how media was back then. Okay, if we look at the history of media itself, we can divide it into several phases, okay? In the 80s and 90s, we're all glued to the traditional forms of media: television, newspapers, magazine, radio. Our source of information is always from official media organization, okay? ABC News, CNN, BBC, or in Malaysia, we have TV3, RTM, Newsweek Time, okay? Then September 11 happened, and people start to have this distrust towards the media. Yeah? The sudden surge of technology and cheaper internet allows people, like us, to find alternative sources. Okay, people quickly turn to the non-traditional media. By the new millennium, millions of blogs, okay, start popping up. We have LiveJournal, Blogspot, WordPress. Back in the early 2000s, I was also quite active in blogging and all that. And we call this citizen journalism, okay? And we thought this is so advanced already. Then in the late 2000s, okay, people are introduced to the Web 3.0, the social media. Okay, so Friendster has become this blueprint of social media. Okay, followed by MySpace. Suddenly a surge of new social media pops up. Okay, we have Facebook, Twitter back then. Now we have this platform where people can make new friends and new connections. Okay, every day, for example, if I go to social media, I can make new friends. I can join this conversation. But not everything is rainbow. When it comes to social media, social media suddenly become this platform where people can say anything about anything. I can easily tweet about my bad day, bad day at work, and then tweet about how much I hate someone, etc., etc. Yeah. Social media became this place for cyberbullying, negative postings. People post a lot of, excuse my language here, I'll say shit, on social media. People can actually say anything, people post anything. So, but despite the gloomy reality, social media also became this beacon of hope for a lot of people. It became a place where people can learn and discuss new things. Okay, people can also report injustice, or socially effed up things like, the things that they witnessed. Like this week, where 8 Asians was killed in the US, and everyone is talking about how the media is talking about it. They use the word like, instead of using the word terrorist, they use the word like, oh, he's a bad kid who's having a bad day, something like that. So everyone's talking about how the media is treating the fellow, and the media is erupted with hashtags like Stop Asian Hate and all that. Okay, social media is not just a place for meme and pop culture. It's also a place where people churn out thought pieces, okay, and discuss heavy topics nowadays. This gave birth to Me Too and the Free Britney movement, okay? So I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay. In 2017, an explosive story came out regarding one of the biggest movie producers in Hollywood, okay, Harvey Weinstein. It was released and it shook, okay, the world. Celebrities started to talk about their experiences, and this led to change of discourse in social media. Women start to talk about their sexual assaults, experiences, and the word Me Too came out. Okay, instead of staying in social media, this discourse led to a discussion about pay gap between men and women. The Congress, the U.S. Congress is now, now they give attention to sexual harassment cases, and even there's a discussion about the ratio between men and women in workspace. Okay, and you think that this conversation only happened in America? Let's review back to what was discussed in Malaysia a few years back. Okay, if you look at our news, people are talking about how the involvement of women in politics. Okay, the ratio of female and male in the cabinet previously. Okay, about female safety on male-dominated jobs. Okay, on Twitter there was discussion about how a female, she's the head engineer, and she was not sexually assaulted, but she was harassed almost on daily basis because she's the only woman in her workspace. She was an engineer, okay? And there's a lot more conversation that is, relatable, okay? So this Me Too movement led to a discussion regarding treatment of female by the media. And this is basically the basis of the Free Britney movement, okay? A few years later, okay? In 2019, a voicemail by a paralegal, okay, was released on a podcast on regarding the American pop star Miss Britney Spears, and this led to a fan-led movement called the Free Britney, okay, hashtag Free Britney. The movement was pretty much low-key and slowly gaining momentum throughout 2020. Last year, people were like discussing on Twitter, like Free Britney and all that. They were discussing about all the assault that she's been having over the past 13 years. But in February 2021, which is last month, New York Times released a documentary that shed a light on the pop star's conservatorship. Okay, so conservatorship basically is a situation where if you can't run your personal life, someone is being given a territory over your life, basically. So for Miss Britney Spears, basically she can't do anything. She can't get married. She can't vote. She can't, basically, if she wants to pay, if she wants to buy something, for example, like a Starbucks drink, she needs to get approval from her father. She cannot drive. She cannot be in a relationship. Everything needs to be approved. Okay, so this conversation is definitely for another time. Okay, because there's a lot to be discussed. But the documentary titled "Framing Britney Spears." Okay, framing. If you heard the word framing, framing is one of the theories, one of the biggest theory in communication and stuff. Okay, the documentary shed a light on how female celebrities were treated by the media. Okay, so if we looking back at the clips today, looking back at those clips from her interviews in the 90s, in the early 2000s, where the media asked about her breasts, she was 18, 17, and the media was like, did you had a breast surgery? And then, her ex-boyfriend, Justin Timberlake, was talking about her virginity on a radio show, seems to be very, I would say, very negative if we were to do it nowadays, okay? Back then, we won't be having this discussion. But in recent years, after the Me Too movement, okay, topics like this are heavily discussed, okay? The documentary basically helped the movement, okay? Britney dominated Google trending topics throughout February and early March, okay? And everyone on Twitter is, talking about this, about her conservatorship, about conservatorship abuse, nowadays people are, talking about this in late night skits and all that. And even Netflix released a movie called I Care a Lot, which shed a light about this conservatorship abuse, okay? So social media is erupted with discussion about how the pop star was treated by the media, sexualizing her, back then. And then there are unnecessary, paparazzis are taking unnecessary photograph. For example, like when she gave birth to her kid, paparazzi was actually waiting under the car to take a picture of her vagina, just to prove that, Britney gave birth, okay? So, etc. There's a lot of things actually going on, okay? So, let's circle back to our initial question. Can social media helps to make social change, okay? So, based on our talk today, I do believe so. If you learn sociology, in order to make change, you need 4 reasons, okay? In order to make social change, you need 4 reasons, okay? The first one is social institution, population, environment, and technology. So yes, I do believe that social media falls in all of this, okay? Social media is basically our social institution. Population, there's a lot of people on social media. Environment, okay? Social media actually, it became this place where people actually create these topics of discussions, okay? And it's also a part of technology, okay? So, okay, how does social media help power social change? Okay, the first one, social media let us communicate more messages to more people, okay, more quickly. Survivors are able to share their stories quickly with a large audience, okay? Communicating their realities with more people, these stories increase awareness, okay? For example, like I have a lot of friends who experience sexual abuse, sexual harassments, I believe a lot of male and female actually had sexual harassment, even in public, and people are now discussing about it, okay? Number 2, social media provides a platform to share news and current events with others in a way that is not guided solely by mainstream media, okay? In mainstream media, we have gatekeepers, they were the one who actually, decide what goes on the front page, what goes on, on the news itself, and mainstream media often gets the story wrong, okay? Perpetuating stereotypes, making excuses for perpetrators, like what we had last week, where they said that the kid killed 8 Asian people just because he had a bad day. Okay, social media enables survivors, allies, and advocates to react and respond to current events. Number 3, social media provides a space for everyone to, be a voice, and join in crucial conversation all across the world. Okay, for example, like I'm in Malaysia. I actually joined the Free Britney rally yesterday, on social media because they were doing all these hashtags and all that, and I can join in and give information, give opinion about what's happening. Okay, and number 4, social media creates a space to foster collaborative conversations across movements. Okay, social media makes collaboration engaging and accessible to activists and communities. Like I said just now, if I go online, I can just search keywords, like hashtags, okay, and then be a part of the conversation. Okay, I can create space. People can actually be a part of the conversation. For example, like what happened last month, people actually give money, to buy a billboard to make the case more, to make people more aware of what is happening, like what happened with the Me Too movement a few years ago. Celebrities join in, journalists join in, and people join in. They chip in money, they create billboards, to just create awareness about this whole Me Too movement, and it gave a birth to this Time's Up movement and all that. So it's all interrelated. And lastly, social media gives us the power to call out injustice and inaccuracies by portraying realities, okay? Hashtags like Me Too and End Conservatorship Abuse or Stop Asian Hate have the ability to transform individual movement into unified, strong forces, okay? Like what happened last year during the pandemic, during the pandemic, everyone is like, we have to stay home, but all over the world, people are like, okay, you know what? This injustice toward Black people need to stop. So they create this hashtag, Black Lives Matter, and people went out, rally in a safety, in a safe way, with their mask and all that. And they create these strong forces of where people cannot stop. Okay. So I believe there is so much more to be done. Okay. But it is undeniable that the momentum of Black Lives Matter, Me Too, Free Britney movement would not have gained so much support, awareness, as such a following had it not been for the use of social media. These platforms, which we so willingly consume every day, okay, for hours. I can be on Twitter, on TikTok, for hours every day, and they are an instrumental tool in distributing information and motivating change. The power of a group of people sharing the same belief is one thing, but the power of millions of users worldwide standing in solidarity with one another through shared passion is another level of potential for change altogether. So I believe it's a very short conversation. So that's all. Thank you so much for listening. But before we move on to Q&A, I want to invite you to visit our university at www.iumw.edu.my. And follow us on our socials, okay? At IUMW.edu.my or at the Com Squad. If you are interested to learn about media and discuss topical issues in class, feel free to DM us and ask us any question regarding our programs. Thank you. Nina, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Shawa. I'll just remove your stream. Okay. So wow, that was a very interesting conversation. I feel like there's a lot that I want to delve into as well.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that's fine.
oh my god, I know about this. But yeah, so let's just entertain questions that's asked by students. If you can look at the comment section, you have to scroll all the way down.
Yeah. That's my boss, Nisa Omar. She said something about my cousin working TikTok. Yeah. And we have a question by Sarah Tan. How do I prepare myself today in order to succeed in social media career?
Yes.
So working in social media is hard because people tend to, look at it as those who work in social media, they can do it all. They can go on Twitter, they can go on social media, they can manage, they can create content, they can manage. But you have to know where is your strength, basically. If your strength is on management, then perhaps you should go as a social media manager. And if you're into content, then you should go, into a career where you can create content for social media. We have this thing called social media curator. But how do you prepare yourself to succeed in such career? You always have to be on social media. You have to know what is happening. Okay, you cannot just look at a hashtag and then assume that that's the current imprint. No, you have to look at it. If you consume social media every day, there's always an ongoing conversation that might be erupted someday. So you have to be aware of that. So one of the job for social media managers is actually to look at trends. What is happening, what is hype, which conversation is going up every now and then. So you need to look at the statistics and all that. So I believe that's how you can prepare yourself. Always be in the know about stuff. Okay. And then, do I need to be outgoing or an extrovert to do well in social media? By Tiba Herwert. Okay. Not necessarily. For me, I'm an introvert. I think so. I think I'm an introvert, like an ambivert. Okay. So I believe that you need to be a mix of both. But people don't mind. You can be an introvert or you can be an extrovert. It's okay, as long as you know what you need to do. Then yeah.
All right. We can go on and see more questions. That's
This is
one
a question by Ryan.
Yeah.
How good in English do I have to be succeed in this field? Is there a space for Malay speaking social media person? There's a place for everyone, basically. You can be good in English. You can be good in your own language. It's okay. It depends. If you're working in Malaysia, you don't have to. You have to know English, but you also have to be good in your own language. Depends on the place itself. Okay.
We have I think more.
Yeah, we have another question by Michelle.
Michelle,
yeah, Michelle. Aside from social media career, what other careers can one venture into with a communication qualification? Of course, you have journalism. You can work into corporate com. You can work into public relations and all that. And what else? You can be like Miss Nina here. I believe. What was your background,
I studied psychology, actually.
Psychology, see? Social science, usually social science, we connect, our fields are connected. So some people actually work somewhere, you work in one field and then work into another category,
Yeah.
You don't have to be, you don't have to join social media itself in order to work in communication. You can work. There's a lot of space you can keep working.
Okay. We do have one more question. I think we scroll out a little bit from Fazrina. Yeah. What are some surprising things or facts of working in the social media industry?
Oh, hi Zulfazrina. Okay, interesting facts. Okay, if you were to work in, for example, like TikTok, if you were to work in TikTok and all that, the amount of things that you actually see online is sometimes it can disrupt you. So you need to know when to take a time off from the social media itself, because I have a lot of my students who actually work in TikTok, and they see gruesome things every day.
Right.
So not just all these things. When you open Twitter or TikTok, everything's already filtered.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but if you were to work on the front line of TikTok itself, there's a bunch of information. There's a bunch of videos that is quite effed up, basically. Even I read, I think earlier this year or late last year, people in Facebook. There's a lot of people in Facebook who actually quit because things that they witnessed on Facebook itself, where people make, other than comments, people post stuff on social media on their page, and it was seen by some people, and there's a video of them killing cats and all that, maybe eating, being cannibal and all that.
Yeah. I think the killing cat one, there was even a Netflix documentary on it. What was it called?
Don't F with cats. Don't F with
Yeah,
cats.
that one. Yeah, I couldn't bring myself to watch it because I cannot.
You should watch it. It's a really good 3 episodes. I think 3 or 4 episodes about how this group of people, they were actually looking for clues and all that to look for this
one video.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just one lead to another video, and then the people, they were so mad. That's why I say about social media. If you're mad, if you're angry about something, it's gonna create this energy into you, and you just want everyone to join in.
I do have some personal questions. When I was listening to your presentation, I do have some personal questions. I want to add on to the whole hashtag thing. I think most recently there was this "Not All Men" hashtag. I'm not sure if you noticed it. It's from the death of this woman named Sarah Everin. Yeah, I think about a few days ago, I think this woman was sexually, I think she was kidnapped. I think she was kidnapped or sexually assaulted, and she died. And she was actually attacked by a policeman. I think she was lost, or the guy was helping her, but she died after that. So people took it on social media. The first one, I think they started with the text me when you get home. It was an Instagram post that every woman sort of send to each other, but it's not even like in an endearment way, but it's basically like our own subtle code on just being safe. And I think with that not all men hashtag, because people kept bringing it, it's a big deal, and then a lot of other people are saying things like, oh, not all men, you know, there are some good people out there kind of thing. But those conversations are basically just distractions to like the real issue. You're just, you know, sidelining the whole thing. Yeah.
That's why I hate about when people are using the word like, oh, not all men are that. But the thing is, the conversation started because of how men behave around women.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like, sure, not all men, but enough men, you know, to make everyone feel scared about this. Yeah.
Like,
So,
I think the easiest way to understand this issue is, you know, like, I know not all men, but any man can give this negative energy towards a woman. So that's why they have to like
yeah,
suddenly
it's 1 in 6 women that get sexually harassed or assaulted. On this subject, right, there are good hashtags like the Me Too, where women feels you know, supported, and then there's a freebie where we're riding on one person. But this not all men hashtag, which can also be harmful because somebody created it to protect themselves, right? So you have like a whole group of people who sort of hide behind that hashtag as well. So as like you can see that you see that social media can power social change, but what if that social change is a bad change? So yeah, so on that subject, and also the no mask thing that's going on in the US, right? So people do take those social, like those conversations on social media, and they do bring it outside. And it's not necessarily a good thing, but they are still fighting for a cause. And because social media can, I guess, lead to social change, what are the consequences to us? Because we give social media a voice, and we're also giving voice to like bad opinions, and that can become the staple opinion. Like, what do you think about that?
That's the thing with social media. You cannot control what is happening, what is being discussed. So it's all about, in the end, it's all about education. We go back to education and all that. So people need to know, we need to go, you know, to open back the book, and people need to use their logical thinking, like what is happening, you know. Sometimes like those anti-vaccine type of movement, you know, I don't get them, or flat earthers movement, you know, I don't get them at all. But I believe that if you open yourself up to education itself, you know, so you understand where what things are, you know, important, which things are that is true, you know. So yeah, come join us, IUMW.
Yeah, you did mention on accountability, like social change. There's accountability, you know, like the Harvey Weinstein and every other people who are in power in the industry itself. What are your thoughts on cancel culture? Because I know that yes, you can cancel a big figure, but I mean, if you see throughout the decade, the cancel culture doesn't really apply to certain people. Like Winona Ryder was definitely cancelled out from the first moment she shoplifted. But otherwise there are some people who are not cancelled, and there are also people who, I guess, us or there are, because I'm active on social media, and I do see not just celebrities, sometimes just somebody with a lot of followers, they will just have an opinion on it, harmless opinion, but because a lot of people feel otherwise attacked by it, so they will automatically cancel that person just because, oh, they're problematic. How do you think that could affect on the education on social media itself, because cancel culture exists?
For me, cancel culture doesn't really exist to me, because, you know, people can be cancelled, and then they still there. You know, look at Dr. Luke itself. You know, he was harassing Kesha all these years, and then he was cancelled, and now he came up with a new name. If you look at Doja Cat new songs, you know, he was listed as a producer, but in a new name. Okay, and then Chris Brown, millions of followers still, and I don't. That's why I said I don't believe in cancel culture. When people say they're canceling someone, it was at that moment, and then after a week they forget it. Because there's a lot of conversation going on social media. By a few days, by a week, people already forget about it.
Exactly.
And then what was the other thing about another thing other than cancel culture just now?
If it's educational for people, because you're canceling someone who have differing opinions. So what do you think about that? I mean, technically with social media.
Oh yes, I remember. For me, okay. The thing with social media is it is a place to educate people. You know, you can cancel someone for having an opinion, but people can actually change their opinion. You know, that's why I don't like when people are like, oh, I have receipts and all that. You know, when I have receipts, so they bring out all this receipt from years ago. You know, for example, like, you see, I think brother nature. Is it brother nature or brother earth?
Yeah, brother nature. Yeah.
He was cancelled, I think, last year because of a tweet that he posted when he was 14, 13. So it doesn't make sense to cancel someone for having he was a kid back then. Now he's what, 20? Yeah. So your opinion changed and you can learn about things. So that's why I stand by that. Even though social media is bad, can be bad, but it's also good. You know, social media also makes you learn about things that you don't normally think every day.
True.
I always go on social media, I always learn something new.
Right. On that note, I'm sorry if I'm like barging into questions because it's an interesting conversation. On that note of cancel culture with opinions, I feel like opinions, sure, people change their knowledge.
Yeah.
What about actions? So people like Chris Brown, who have done harm on women, or even other people, or what's this other case with Megan Thee Stallion and the guy who shot her? Yeah. So these people are like they voluntarily do harm to other person. You know, yes, you can learn from the battle, but what about people who have done actions before? Like, does cancel culture does it not work for them as well?
It should, to be honest, it should work.
Yeah.
I want it to work, but some people need to be cancelled, like literally. But like I said, it all depends on. In the end, it all depends on how public actually perceive them. That's the thing with media now. Media is still patriarchy based, I guess. We defend a lot of men for doing things that should be problematic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like education plays a lot of role in this. The way we perceive someone, and people need to read. So I think cancel culture doesn't really work on someone because people still have that. You have to really see that media is a place where people can actually groom their personality. Even though you have bad news, sometimes people are still like, oh, I'm okay with this. Like what happened with, I think recently we have Dua Lipa. She was always caught not wearing masks, but people are still okay because she gave out this image where she's likable and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally understand where you're coming from on that sense. Deplatforming someone on social media may just be social media, but they do have a life outside of social media that pays the bills or whatever, like Dua Lipa kind of thing. So I think I second you on that. I have another career question on social media. Social media influencers. Okay. Yeah, so social media influencers, I think right now it's a whole new occupation already. No shame on them. They're doing a great thing with generating income for the economy and things like that. But what do you think of people who, right now you just need to have followers, and with social media, you basically shape a narrative, and especially with the whole algorithm thing, you see what you want to see, things like that. For social media influencers, what are your take on people who, because they have a voice and they share their personal beliefs, which that includes I wouldn't say wrong belief, but maybe unfavorable ones, not the famous opinions kind of thing, because they are basically role leaders, right? So they're also educating their followers. What do you think on social media influence? You're representing the social scene, in communications and all that. What do you think of social media influencers, and should there be a guideline for how they should sort of run their career?
When we talk about guidelines, that's a problem there, because when it comes to social media, there's no guideline. People just say what they want to say.
Yes.
They gain quite a following from there. So how to say? For me, influencers saying stuff,
Yeah,
For me,
I
like
mean,
in the end, it's all about how the influencers wanted to be perceived. The thing is, they gain followers just because of the things that they say.
right.
People online, for example, like you remember a few years back when we were having election, there's some influencers on social media that actually, talk about or let's not vote, and then
Right.
let's not go to the election. Let's go somewhere else. This create a group of followings. It creates this, like a bunch of followings of people where they actually believe this. They actually believe that this can actually do good. By not voting, it can do good. Something like that. So I feel like I said, it all circles back to education. Yeah, you have to understand the system first in order to. So that's why being a social influencer, you need to be ethical. To be honest.
Right. Yes.
You need to be
Yeah.
ethical.
That was the word. Yeah.
You need to learn how to. You need to educate yourself, and you need to educate your followers. You cannot just. That's why I always like when I'm on social media, I try not to say things that might create this conversation and all that, and then I try not to like say things that is not ethical, So we have to guard our image as well. And celebrities also tend to do this, but influencers usually they don't have guidelines behind them. But I do believe that there should be some sort of like guidelines for them.
Yeah, to be more ethical, things that could be harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's all the questions that I have prepared also for you. To those of you watching, thank you so much for joining our webinar session with Mr. Shawwal. Don't forget to check out International University of Malaya Wales at the VEF Fair. Mr. Shawwal, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was a very, very insightful conversation. And I think we did have some sort of a chat just now also. Yeah. We do hope that we get to see you in the next webinar.
Yes.
If you'd have us again. So yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Shawwal. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining.
All right. Thank you to our audience who tuned in with Mr. Shawwal of International University of Malaya Wales. Up next, we have Dr. Siva Balanaidu from Taylor's College, who will share with you the tips and tricks to navigating your academic pathway. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned for more. In the meantime, let's take a look at what International University of Malaya Wales has prepared for us. Showing you a video.
Chase down a brand new adventure. Step up, step out and enter in. There's no time for stalling. The wild is calling. When you risk it all, you learn to feel alive. Searching for new life. Reaching for new heights.
right. So now that we're back, before we join in the next speaker, I'm going to give you guys a quick tour on our virtual education fair. I'm sharing my screen. All right. So as you can see, this is the main fair at our virtual education fair. This is the main hall. What you can see here is an array of universities that you can choose from. Each university has their own booth. It comes with a list of programs, scholarships. If you look up at this section up here, we have the webinar slot where you can catch all the webinars that we'll be showing throughout the entire fair. That's one coming up next week. On this next year, we have quizzes. So if you want to know what is your education pathway, what pre-university you want to do, if you don't know what's your calling, you can get all your answers from our quizzes right here. It's free, don't worry about it. We also have the program section over here. It's basically a master list of all the programs that's available at our VEF. You can also check out all the scholarships that we have here. So while we wait for the next speaker to join us, we'll just tune in for the next speaker. Until then, here's a 10 minutes break. Hi everyone, and welcome back to EduAdvisor's webinar series. Sorry for the long wait, but our speaker is in already. For those of you who are just tuning in, good evening and welcome to EduAdvisor's webinar series, part of the EduAdvisor Virtual Education Fair, where academicians and industry professionals will be weighing in on a number of topics, ranging from choosing an education pathway to jobs and career. My name is Nina, and today we have Dr. Sivabala Naidu. I will pull him into the stream. Hi, Doctor.
Hi, hello. Good afternoon,
Hi.
everyone.
Good afternoon. So, Dr. Sivabala Naidu is the head of the School of Pre-University Studies from Taylor's College, who will be sharing with us about the tips and tricks to navigating your academic pathway. Welcome, Dr. Siva.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you for that introduction. I reckon that you can see my screen, right?
Hold on. No, you haven't shared your screen yet, actually.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, you can share your screen. I'll do a quick introduction of our esteemed speaker today. Dr. Sivabala Naidu is currently serving as the head of the School of Pre-University Studies in Taylor's College, with over 30 years of experience in the field of education, having served at various levels, ranging from primary to tertiary education. He's deeply passionate about the need to nurture and develop students while at transition from secondary to tertiary education. Hence, he is well placed to provide insights and insider tips that will be beneficial to students to know before they make their right choices in their academic journey. All right, Doctor, I can see your slides already.
Thank you so much, Nina.
Before we begin, to our audience watching, if you have any questions for Dr. Sivabala, do leave a comment and we will get them answered at the end of the session. Also, don't forget to check out Taylor's College virtual booth while you're at the fair. Doctor, if you're prepared, I can pull your slides in right now. All right.
Right. Okay, hi everyone once again. Good afternoon. My name is Siva. Thank you for the introduction, Nina. I'm from Taylor's College, and today I'll share with you some vital information and knowledge that will allow you students who have just finished your SPM to be better informed in taking the next appropriate decision in your learning journey or in your academic journey. I'm sure that we are all at one point. Me, Nina, anybody else would have gone through the same predicament, dilemma that you possibly are facing now. Of course, some of you are quite certain where do you want to go, but many of you are still, looking around, finding the best fit for you. So today, my intention is to share with you some vital information knowledge that will allow you to be better informed, so that you can make the right decisions for your next for the next part of your academic journey. Having said that, basically the question, what's next for you? There's so many things out there. If you look at the cupcakes, the variety of cupcakes that you like, and you do not know which to choose, because each one of these cupcakes are equally delicious. They are made with the best quality ingredients. They're fine, they're good, but which one do you take? What do you do? How do you determine what is best for you? And that's exactly what we want to go through in this next 30 to 45 minutes of our session. So if you have any questions, right, please, I think there's a chat forum or somewhere where you can type so that I can answer the questions later on. But at this moment, it's going to be one way. You're going to listen to me and then take notes if you want. And then if you have questions in your head, keep it until the end of the session, yeah? All right. So one of the first things that you should do, or you must know as a student who has just finished your high school, is to know what is available out there. All right, there's a lot of things available out there, just like the cupcakes earlier, which I showed to you. There are lots of things out there, and all are equally good. They all have their good features. They have their strengths, and each one of it would be good for you to take up. But what do you want? What do you need to know in order for you to choose? That's what we'll get at. But these are the programs that are available in Malaysia. This is not exhaustive. There are many other programs. We have the West Australian Matriculation. People normally call it as AUSMAT. We have the South Australian Matriculation. Now it's known as SACE, the South Australian Certificate of Education International, formerly it was known as SAM. Then you have foundation studies, which are offered by many colleges and institutions, higher education institutions, different foundation programs. Some foundation programs are very tailor-made. For example, if you like design, then you go into foundation design. If you like engineering, go into foundation engineering. But we also have foundations that are very generic. like Foundation Science, Foundation Arts, Foundation Business, which are a bit more generic, and you can also take that. So there are many foundation programs. Then the very famous Cambridge A-level program. The Cambridge A-level program is well known throughout the world. It's offered in many parts of the world. It's also very popular in Malaysia. We have the Canadian Pre-University program, right? This is offered by from Ontario. The examination is by the Education Board in Ontario. Then we have the International Baccalaureate, which is a diploma. Then we have the American Degree Transfer Program for those who want to continue studies to American universities, but also to Canada and so on. Then we have, of course, we have our own Sijil Tinggi Pelajaran Malaysia, the STPN. That's another pathway for you to consider. And then the Malaysian Matriculation Colleges, which we have throughout the country. And the Malaysian Matriculation Colleges also offer different streams. We have arts, accounting and sciences. So that's also one of the things that you need to know. And then, of course, there is this diploma studies, a whole range of diploma studies, diploma in culinary arts, for example, diploma in computing and so on. So lots of diplomas. So if you see there are 10 different kinds of programs here, and each of these programs have different features. And how do you make a choice? Do you make a choice out of the name? No, you need to look at the features. What are the features that these programs have? And then look at your own self and see how this can fit in to your own needs and wants, right? Okay, allow me to go on to the next slide. Okay, for me, these are the basic key features that you need to know. One is basic entry requirements. We will all need to know, what do I need to go into a program? What do I need to go and study foundation? What do I need to go into to STPM, right? What do I need if I want to do a diploma? But other than the basic entry requirements, institutions also place some prerequisites. Sometimes the prerequisites are not by the institution themselves. It comes from an external body. For example, for those who want to do medicine, there is some prerequisites that we need to meet at SPM level. For example, foundation communication. Let's say somebody wants to do a foundation communication. They will say your basic requirement is 5 credits, but English must be a credit because, I mean, understandable, right? That you need English because you're going into the world of communication and that's the medium of communication that you'll be using and so on. But the other thing that you will want to know is duration. How long is the study period? Is it 2 semesters, 2.5 semesters, 3 semesters, 4 semesters, 1 year, 2 years? This will also weigh heavily on your decision making. You should know this. You know, how long are these programs so that you can plan your next, what you want to do next. Because the length of the program will determine where you're going and how you're going and what you're going to do for the degree and so on, right? And then the assessment structure. I purposely bolded the assessment structure because each of these programs have different assessment structures. And the assessment structure is very important for you. It's not only important for you as a student, but it's also important for you because different students have different learning styles, right? Some are solitary learners. They can just sit in a library, take books and, for hours spent reading. But some are not. Some of what we call as social learners. You need to learn with people. You are better off doing projects. You learn through adventure. You learn through discovery. You're not that kind of person who wants to spend hours in the book. You can do assignments well, but you can't do exams. When you go into exams, you get nervous, you sweat, and you panic. So these are things that you will want to consider. So the assessment structure, which I'll talk about in a while, is very important. Finally, the awarding body is not really very important, but you will need to know, for example, the Canadian Pre-U, where does it come from? Who actually gives you the qualification? It comes from the Ontario Examination Board, for example. The OSMET or the Western comes from Western Australia, right? The SACE comes from Southern Australia Education Board and so on. So each of these, the awarding body are different. But having said that, these awarding bodies are recognized. That means these certificates or these programs that you do are recognized all over throughout the world. So it's not really a problem at all. So awarding body is not a major key feature that you want to consider, but all the other 1, 2, 3, 4 are very important for you, all right? So just let me go through very quickly. Basic entry requirements, prerequisites, duration, assessment structure. So you need to know this, right? So you can't be adamant that I want to do medicine and then you don't have, for example, credit in biology or chemistry, for example. So these are important things that you should know. All right, this is the basic entry requirement for most programs, right? SPM with 5 credits or equivalent, right? But you must pass SPM. Pass SPM means you should have passed your BM paper, you should have passed your history, right? But you need 5 credits. That's the basic that is needed to enter any program. Of course, different institutions will then have prerequisites, right? Of course, if you don't have SPM, then an equivalent will apply. Then you will need some of the programs will need prerequisite. Of course, you will need to know what do you want to do after foundation science. Do you want to do medicine, or do you want to go into nutrition, for example, right? Or you want to become a chemist. So you will need to know, because this will allow the counselors to advise you on whether you should be taking the track, right? For example, some programs need mathematics credit at SPM level, all right? Although you may be able to go to a foundation arts, but when you want to go and do, for example, architecture program, quantity surveying, for example, then they'll ask you, do you have a credit in maths in SPM level? So please, when you're choosing a program, look at the prerequisites of what you want to do next. It's not so straightforward that I take now, then my pathway is going to be so smooth, it's going to be so beautiful and everything is going to be bed of roses. No, it's not like that. So please look at the prerequisites that apply to these programs, right? And sometimes institutions themselves have some prerequisites. This is to more for quality control. For example, somebody who wants to do further maths in A levels. So the institution might say you need a credit in at maths the least so that you can do, right? So that you can better handle the further maths at A levels. If not, you'll be struggling and be grappling with all the theories and all the problems, and that's not going to help you either. For STPM and matriculation, this qualification somewhat varies, all right? It's different. You can check it out in the website later on. But STPM matriculation is slightly different. But having said that, it's also competitive. It doesn't mean that it's just going to be easy to go in. You'll still need to apply. Certain things, certain entry requirements should be met, all right? Okay, so having finished basic entry requirements, let me now look at prerequisites. This is just an example that I took from various universities. Basically, you need to pass the SPM. Yeah, you can't deny that. Or O levels or equivalent, with 5 Bs each in biology, chemistry, physics, and mathematics. Additional maths, and another subject at school level or its equivalent. Then in some places, you actually have to go for an interview, right? I know UKM, UPM, the public universities have interviews. In some places, you need to take another test called the biomedical admissions test. This biomedical admissions test, sometimes it's by the institution. For example, in University of Malaya, they have the Malaysian biomedical admission test. But many institutions will ask you to take the biomedical admission test that is administered by Cambridge, right? Then you need to take that and you need to pass that. You have a certain grade. So this is an example of a prerequisite. So similarly for you, right? There's so many people out there. You have different needs and different wants, different programs that are in your head right now. But it's very, very crucial that you know what the prerequisites are. And it's not rocket science to find this out. You can always ask counselors at the various institutions, or you can surf the net and find out what these prerequisites are. So you're better positioned to make decisions on what you want to do next. All right? Okay, having said that, now let's go to duration. Of course, duration matters, right? A 4-semester program can take 2 years. A 2-semester program will take 1 year. Sometimes people have 2.5 semesters. From the comparison from all the 10 programs that I've shared with you just now, the shortest routes are the matriculation studies, which is 2 semesters in a matriculation college, the government matriculation college, right? Or the foundation studies, right? The foundation studies is generally 2.5. For example, in my institution, we have 2 long semesters and 1 short semester. The long semesters are 14 weeks, 2 14 weeks, and then 1 7 weeks. Okay, so this actually allows somebody to come in, for example, in April and finish in March, and then go into university very smoothly, very smooth transition to go into the varsity. There's not much waiting because some of the universities have this April intake or March intake. Of course, some universities have June intake, so then you'll wait for a while and so on. So this is the shortest pathway. The STPM is now 3 semesters, 1.5 years sort of. The longest perhaps is the International Baccalaureate. I've not included diploma here. The diploma is longer. The International Baccalaureate goes for 24 months. It's very intensive, but very rich, very deep. But Cambridge A-levels depends on which institutions. Some institutions have 15 months accelerated program. You go in, it's very accelerated. You finish it very quickly. If you can cope with the demands of that Cambridge A-levels, it's very deep, then it's fine, you can take. Some programs are 18 months in some institution. Some institutions say it's 24 months. Normally these institutions are when it's like a boarding school where you're bored and you study for 24 months and then the depth is there. So there is variety in Cambridge A-levels in Malaysia across many of the institutions that I've compared because you're allowed to do that, right? And each of these, the length and duration is approved by the Malaysian Qualification Agency. It is not by whims and fancies. For example, if somebody say I want to do Cambridge A-level in 9 months, the MQA might not allow it because there's not adequate learning time for the student. So whatever the duration has been approved by a body which is the Malaysian Qualification Agency. So you don't have to worry about the length. But some people, because they want to have a richer experience, they might want to take 24 months to study the Cambridge A-levels, right? They're not in a hurry at all, right? And then they want to do well, so they can do that. Okay, now the assessment structure. This, for me, is the most important thing for any student who wants to take the next step. It's very, very important for you to know how are you going to be assessed? What does the assessment entail? Because at the end of the day, you go into a program, you are judged by the assessment. You are judged by the grade you get, right? So if you look at this list, this is a continuum, right? This is a continuum. If you look, A-levels is at the high end of the continuum because it's just examination. It's 100% external final examination. So when you go into an A-level program, you must be ready for this. That after a period of study for 18 months, for example, you'll be given a 2 to 3 weeks of a period time where you'll go and sit for your papers, right? And the A-levels is divided into 2 sets of examinations. One is called the the AS, the first one, the subsidiary, and then the next is called the A2. All right, in the AS, the practical exam, if you're taking science, the practical exam is conducted during that time. But it is just 100% exam, right? So when you talk about exam, so then you will see how would the teachers approach the teaching. Of course, there'll be lots of class tests, there's lots of examination practice, right? Teaching, of course, the tutorials, the guidance and all that will go on. But lots of these things will happen for you, right? So that you will be better prepared. There'll be trial examinations for you to undertake so that when you come for the exams, you're ready. So that's it, is the highest end. If you look at the other end, the green ones, you will notice that the coursework or the assignments that you do, which is called continuous assessment because it's ongoing, right? We assess it continuously, takes up a major chunk of the whole assessment, right? And some people will love this, right? Because it's 70%. It's 70% of your grades or marks have already been predetermined, right? Before you actually go and sit for the final exams. Having said that, don't think that it's going to be a breeze either because the coursework is also demanding, right? So you will have to be consistent. You will have to be, putting in hard work, diligent work, dedicated to the assignment that is given to you so that you can produce good quality work. It is not like, coursework is easy, like I can copy, or I can, it's a breeze. It's not at all. It is tough. But it might suit many people because some of this coursework, it can be a presentation, right? It can be group work with some people, with a group of friends and doing together, So earlier I told you there are different kinds of learners. Solitary learner might want an A-level program, But a student who's very social, very, human-centered, you like, you are very, you have lots of personal skill, and you want to interact with people, and this might be the one. But of course, in between this continuum, you have the blue ones, which are, more exam, a little bit of coursework, a little bit of continuous assessment, the Malaysian matriculation, for example, and these are new developments, right? In the past, it was all exams, but because you are coming to a different level, you're not at secondary school level, you're already going to pre-tertiary. So it's important for you to be trained in how tertiary level education is. At tertiary level, it's always a lot of coursework before the exams, right? So similarly, the STPM is now incorporated coursework. The IB has coursework. The coursework depends, right, from subject to subject, from modules to modules. So this is about 30, 70 generally, right? And that's the blue one. And then we have a bit somewhere in the middle. Again, this is not like the Western Australian matriculation is 50% coursework, continuous assessment, and 50% exam from the board, from the West Australian Matriculation Board. Foundation studies 50-50 generally, but it's not fixed. It depends on module to module, right? Some modules may have more coursework because it's hands-on, right? For example, you do need to work in the design studio. You'll have lots of coursework, and then it will be an exam. But it can be 60-40, some 70-30, but definitely there would be more coursework element than the examination element. But I will safely say this in the middle range. Somebody who's comfortable with this, you like it. Similarly to the diploma studies, it's also, half, or, slightly favoring coursework, 60%, 60-40 or 70-30, and so on. So I just give you 1 minute just to, just look at this. It's just a continuum that you need to know. You need to know the assessment structure for you to make better decisions because you are at that crossroad, right? I reckon that most of you here are, post SPM. Maybe some of you are in Form 4, but you will need to know this well so that you can make good informed decisions for yourself. Of course, your parents should know also this, but you also need to know your learning style so that you can make that choice, a proper choice. All right? Okay, allow me to move on. Okay, now that was all about programs, right? To briefly recap what I said earlier, the assessment structure is important, the duration is important, the qualification, particularly the prerequisites, are important aspects for you to know, right? Before you make the choice. But now, where do you want to study is also, a question that people will ask. Of course, sometimes I'm not telling you things like locality. Some people want to study where they are. If you're in Penang, you want to choose somewhere nearby, then you can stay. I'm not going there. I'm going to look at, a bit more detailed of what are the questions that you need to ask yourself, right? So ask yourself, what subject programs do you prefer, right? I've shown you different programs. So of course, if let's say you want to take CPU, the Canadian Pre-U, because your choice is to go to Canada and you think that you like the assessment structure, you like it, somebody in your family had done that before, then of course you will need to know where the CPU is offered, right? Not everywhere you can find CPU offered. Only some institutions offer, right? But maybe you like the SACE, the South Australian Matriculation Program, because it's 70% continuous assessment, right? 70% continuous assessment that covers, major chunk of your assessment. Then you need to look at where the South Australian Matriculation Program is offered, and then you need to choose. So that would be important for you to consider. It's very important. Then, because of the new pandemic, right? So classes may begin with online and with some face-to-face, which in education we call it the hybrid model, right? In a hybrid model, you have some online and some face-to-face. The essential practicals, for example, where you need to have hands-on experience with face-to-face, you will need to consider that. But you'll also need to consider the fact that if in the future can the university or the institution offer you full online study, right? Because things are so unpredictable nowadays, right? And if an institution is unable to provide you with the facilities or the opportunity for you to do online studies, it is going to disrupt your study period. It is going to disrupt your education, right? So that's something very crucial that you need to consider in the current situation, F2F versus online study. In some institutions, they even have what they call as lecture capture. So when you are, when you're listening to a lecture, right? Even when you're in the lecture hall, the lecture is actually recorded and put in a portal for you to review it. For some students who can't make it to the class, they can also review this lecture that has been recorded. And this is very, very useful. It's very useful for revision, but it's also very useful for people to, for those who are missing classes, for example, emergency and so on, right? You may also want to consider things like clubs and societies and student activities that are available. I need to tell you, I need to impress upon you that the higher education institution, the learning does not take place just in the four walls, right? It doesn't take place inside the four walls. It also takes place outside the four walls. It takes place in the campus activities. And a rich student experience that you have at this level is going to be very useful for you because it develops the other skills that are important, which are key skills, which some people call soft skills, right? Your intrapersonal skills, your leadership skills, time management, interaction, communication, and so on. These are important. So you may want to look at that. If you, for example, you're very much into Chinese music and you would like to join a Chinese orchestra, then you may want to consider checking this out first even before you join. Right? Sometimes when students come, they do not see these minor things. They think these are not important. But for me, these are important because this keeps you well balanced because you are a student, you are a young person, learning as much as you can, and you want to go out, you want to graduate with full capabilities. It's not only in academic, but also in all other aspects of your life. So this is crucial, it's important. So you may, I would suggest that you also consider this as a key question in your head right now, right? Now, next, what will your university pathway prospects be like? Important, right? Some people are very determined. I want to study in UK, right? I want to do that. I want to do my law degree in UK. And they also know which university they want. They have made their choice. I want to study in this particular university. When you have this kind of ambition, or you already have a predetermined pathway, then you will need to look at what will help you get there, right? A foundation program may not help you get there. But having said that, sometimes they do. But you need to ask. Because some universities, what they do is they have what we call as articulation. So we have, for example, a program in my college, which is Foundation Science. And if you do the Foundation Science in my college, you can easily get into the University of Melbourne because we already have that agreement. They have already checked our syllabus, we checked our content, and they allow our students to finish the foundation and get there. So this is called mapping. We map with what they require. And as I speak now, we are mapping more and more of programs with different universities around the world so that it becomes easier for students to go to overseas, because if that's what you wish, some people want to go overseas to continue their studies overseas. So that's important. But also, it's important to see the record, right? Some people claim that we have very good record. I've got, 100% of my students landing up in University A. But you have to check because everybody can make claims. You need to see whether the university has a good record, placement record of taking students and putting them in key universities around the world, right? Like, for example, University of Cambridge, University of Yale in US, or Oxford, and so on, right? These are important for you. And in my college, we have something called the University Placement Service. And the University Placement Service main job is that. What the University Placement Service does is to guide the student right from the beginning to prepare the application, to prepare their personal statement, to advise them what they need to get into these key colleges. In some parts of the world, they call it Ivy League and so on, right? So that's something that you want to ask the counselors, you want to know, and so on. How many students will be in one tutorial class? This is for you to know so that you want to know whether you get a good experience, right? You have the attention that you need. An ideal tutorial class should have 1 to 20, 1 to 25 students. And this is important because there's no point you going to a class where it's studying packed. I'm not talking about lectures, right? I'm talking about tutorial class where the interaction between tutor and the student should be richer, more rewarding. And so you will need to ask such questions which are useful, and then the counselors will be able to guide you and tell you for you to make the choice decision later on. Right? What sort of student support provision is in place? What do you understand by the word student support? Right? We're all human beings, right? We all have emotions. We're all social beings. We have different requirements, and we need to know what kind of support provisions are in place. Do we have, for example, when we're struggling with studies, do you have a peer support group? Do you have a student success advisor who can advise me how best I can do it? Do we have program directors who come and counsel us and tell us, hey, look, you're not doing it right. This is the way you do it. Because the transition is very difficult. For a student to go from a high school to a pre-tertiary or tertiary education, it's not easy at all. Why is it not easy? Because the high school is very structured, it's very controlled, it's very much guided, it's very dependent kind of environment. There's a lot of dependency on the teacher. But when it comes to the pre-tertiary and tertiary, you will need to become independent. And for some students, this is totally shocking. It's like, I suddenly come into an environment where I need to make my own decision. And if you're away from your home, you will need to be very good at your time management. And this, some students can't cope. And because of that, you need to find out from your institution that you're choosing, do you have that kind of support, the counselors that I will need, if I need. I'm not saying everybody will need. Do I have that kind of special, if I need special tutorials, for example, because I'm weak in particular subject, will there be, that kind of support given to me? So these are things that you want to ask the student support system, which is like a pastoral care for students. And of course, the learning spaces. When you are in campus, you need to look at the learning spaces. For example, how advanced are the lecture hall? People say, in education, 30 years before and now, the classrooms almost are the same. You have a teacher, you have desks, you have chairs, you have a board. Maybe now the whiteboard. Last time the blackboard. Maybe now you have a projector. Last time we had something called OHP. But that's not what we want, right? This is 21st century, and things have changed. The 21st century learning classrooms are different. So you may want to ask about your learning spaces. How are the learning spaces structured? How advanced are your lecture theaters? How advanced are your tutorial rooms? Do you have screens at corners? How are group work done? How are the lab spaces? How many people to lab apparatus and so on? So all these are important things. What about discussion rooms? What about the library? All these are important pockets of things that happen that are in a campus. And these are things that you want to ask. And if you can, you may want to make a tour or a trip down to the campus or the institution that you're choosing, and go around and say you get an idea. But nowadays people are providing you virtual tours. You can look at the virtual tours and see what is available for you. So these are important as well. The support in terms of learning spaces. And finally, a very, very crucial thing, I think you will know that as students, you have some lecturers who you love because it's their experience, but it's not only the experience, but the skills, right? The skills, the passion, the dedication that they have towards their student. It's very vital that, so you may want to get the profile of the lecturers in advance, which the counselors will be able to tell you, right? Taylor's College, where I'm now heading the School of PU, we have been in the business for more than 52 years with the South Australian Matriculation Program and the Cal level. So we have a group of very experienced, dedicated, and talented lecturers for us to serve our students as best as we can. These are some of the questions that I've thought about that will be important for you. But let me tell you, these are not exhaustive. There may be other questions in your head which are equally important and that you want, or maybe even more important, that you will need to ask. But what I'm trying to tell you is these are the tips and tricks that I can give you. Ask questions like this. Ask it again and again, and get answers for it. And how do you get the answers? You don't get it answers by meditating. You get answers by reaching out to people who are out there right? Like EduAdvisor, for example, the counselors, me, the head of schools, program directors, other speakers like me. You can ask them and they'll be able to advise and guide you in the best way possible. All right, just give you 30 seconds just to just look at these questions again. I put in a question form for you to think about it. All right, okay, allow me to move on. And I want you to know your learning style. This is not very directly related to your choice at this moment. Where next, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Where next? What do you do next? But it's good to know. But I particularly want to look at two of the things that I bolded, right? The social learner and the solitary learner, right? This is very important, right? As I told you, in the American degree transfer program, for example, it is so much of social learning, right? It's so exciting. People will do projects and work together, very much reflecting, what will happen when you go to the United States, right? The solitary learning, like, if you're, the A levels, Cambridge A levels is very much, of course you can have study groups and all that, but at the end of the day, it's you doing your task and it's an exam and you, a pen and paper kind of test or not, maybe computer-based test, but that's it, right? The other things may be important in some aspects, right? The verbal and logic, for example, the verbal learner, you may thrive in like in foundation arts, where there's drama, for example, foundation communication, these are kind of things that you like. So some of the things that you can. And how do you know your learning style? There are tests out there. You can surf the net. When you answer questions, you'll more or less know. Some of the institutions like we also do that. When you come and you ask a counselor, you would like to do a test to see what kind of learner you are. They'll assist you if they can, so that you can take the test and you'll know where you stand. So students out there, if you're listening to me now, try to get a test done and find out what your learning style is. So other than that, all those key features that I talked about, other than the key questions that I talked about, I would like to encourage you to know your learning style. And of course, the learning style is not like I'm only social. There can be a mixture of 2 or 3 things, right? But primarily you're inclined to a particular thing, right? So think about that very, very deeply, because I have experiences counseling students, who came to the Cambridge A levels and decided that it's not their cup of tea, because they wanted to, work on assignments, work in groups, do presentations and so on. And then midway they had to change. So I hope if those who are listening to me will not make that kind of decisions without, really thinking about it. So it's important, students, to make informed decisions on the next part of your life. And that's the most crucial, important part of your life, I reckon, right? Transiting from high school into pre-tertiary and then to tertiary, all right? If that's what you want to do. But I'm sure there are some students who want to do, have a gap year. There are some students who want to, go into, training kind of industry, like you want to go into a teacher training institute. That's also fine, right? Maybe go into the police academy, pilot school. I'm not touching all that here. I'm touching more of the, the university pathways, right? Okay, but whatever you do is all right? But make informed decisions. Don't be hasty. Don't jump to conclusion. Don't do because somebody asked you to do. Don't do it because your friend did it. Because at the end of the day, you are different from the next person beside you. So that's a very key message that I'm sharing with you. I hope you're happy with it. Let me now move on. That's it. I've just covered about 42 minutes now. So we have about 15 minutes for questions and answers. I thank you for your attention. I hope my sharing has been useful for all of you out there today. You can reach out to me through EduAdvisor if you need more things. I will now stop sharing my screen and hand it back to Nina for her to handle the Q&A. Nina?
Yes. All right. Can you see me, Doctor?
Yes, I can see you. Hi.
Okay, so that was a very informative on the pre-U courses, the pathway to studying a pre-U. Let's take a look at the questions. Doctor, you have to scroll all the way down on the right-hand side, of the comments.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's all
Comments,
the way
all right.
down.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
Okay.
All the way down or all the way up?
All the
Down.
way down. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, question from Marina. I already know what I want to do. Are you reading the question? Why don't you read the question to
Yeah.
me?
I can read the question. If I already know what I want to do you think it's better to do foundation or other pre-U courses?
Okay. Marina, that's a very, very good question. I will need to ask you that very important thing, right? If you're very sure, for me, the first thing I'll do is I'll ask you to do the foundation because you're very sure. For example, you're very sure that you want to do, for example, engineering, right? So if that's an institution that offers you foundation engineering, that will be the easiest trajectory for you, the easiest pathway for you. It transits very smoothly, because in many institutions, what happens is apart from the normal foundation modules that people are offering, they'll have guest lectures coming from the university to share insider tips and so on. So that will be vital. But if you're not sure, right, then a broader pathway, for example, Cambridge A-level or the Australian matriculation might give you that wider scope. All right. So I hope I've answered the question. If I were in your shoes, I would choose the foundation. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll choose the foundation.
Great.
Yeah.
The next question is from Darren. I'm still undecided on which field I want to study in. What's the best pre-U option that will let me try out the widest variety of subjects? I think you sort of already answered that one, but you can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about subjects. If you take foundation, right? If you take foundation, it somewhat constricts you, right? Because the foundation will allow you to go to a certain pathway, and in particular universities. But of course, if you just want to do it a lot in Malaysia, it's fine. You do a foundation in arts, and then you can jump institutions, for example. And in a foundation program, basically you have 10 modules, right? You have English 1, maybe English 2, then you have critical thinking, then you have the core modules, if you're taking engineering, you'll have physics, maths, and so on. So there are 10 subjects. But if you're looking at very, something that will allow you to choose, then the Cambridge A-levels, which you need a minimum of 3 subjects. It's not very wide, right? You have 3 subjects, and you can go up to 4 subjects. Some people, they want to take 5, but we won't encourage because it's very deep. So some people take 4 subjects because they want to have a wider option. The South Australian matriculation, you need to take 5 subjects. But what subjects you take will depend on whether you are in humanities or whether you are in sciences, right, or whether you want to do, So that's the kind of variety that I think that you will need to consider. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. I hope Darren, I'm answering the question.
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
But I have a couple of questions on my end. Let's just say if a student is interested in doing medicine, and I think we all know that A-levels is one of the pathways to do medicine, right? But with the notorious reputation of A-levels and it being 100% examination based, for students who are kind of scared to go into A-levels, are there other pre-U that students can take on to pursue medicine for their degree?
Yeah, you can take the matriculation, the Australian matriculation programs. Yeah, you can also do foundation in science, and that will also allow you to go into medicine. But as I said, the prerequisites must be met at SPM level, right?
Right.
That's required by the exam, by the board, by the medical board. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I have another one, a quick one. With everything being done online now, with quarantine and it's for safety reasons. How does Taylor's College navigate online learning, especially for students who are doing pre-university courses?
Okay. At the moment, you see, we are very well placed. One of the reasons why there was no disruption in the study journey for pre-university students is that our online teaching capacity is very good. We have the infrastructure already. Even before the pandemic, Taylor's has already embarked on this mission, right, to be very technological savvy in the way they deliver their lectures and so on. So when the pandemic came about, we were actually in the midst. The pre-U were in the midst of classes, right at that, and then we quickly converted everything to online learning, including lab. Right, we have something called Labster, where we simulate and actual experiences that students will have, right? But when things got better, lecturers went back to campus, they started doing the experiment and then demonstrate. Students were still at home and they were following the experiment at home. I've also have lecturers, right? He tells in advance, like simple experiment, okay, please get something, like a beaker, not necessarily actual beaker, but things like that. and he was demonstrating experiments, and students were doing it at home. But what has happened is now, because as things are getting better, we are bringing back students for some essential lab work, right? So because we can't do away without it, because Cambridge A levels has the lab, the practical as one of the exam components. So because of that, we are bringing them back. Having said that, the South Australian matriculation, for example, we can give them simulated data for them to do a report, a scientific report. So thank God, it's so smooth throughout the last 1 whole year, and I hope it continues. But nevertheless, I'm hoping that things will improve and students can come back to campus to experience the campus life. Yeah.
So you're saying that like after things go down, students will gradually go back to uni. So you guys won't be having digital learning anymore?
The plan is for us to enhance our teaching, face-to-face teaching with that platforms. Yeah. So we are not going to do away with it. So I think one of the things that's important for students to know is that learn more, teach less. It's a kind of thing that's globally going around, right? So I can teach, but learning may not take place. But to learn more, students need to be empowered, right? Flipping the classroom, for example. So having said that, I think we won't do the transition so quickly, but this is something that I look forward to, that in the future, that the learning will be, really hybrid. You can learn from anywhere. It's borderless, right? You are having some experience in the campus, but you're also having classes where lecturers are teaching you virtually, and things like that. And that's something that I look forward to.
All right. I think we've already came near to the end of the session. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your insights and perspective. We hope that our audience has gained some valuable information from this session, especially on pre-U courses and how do you navigate your academic pathway. Thank you again, Doctor, and I hope to see you again for the next webinar if you have us again. This has been a really good conversation to have with you.
Thank you very much, Nina. It was a pleasure talking to you. The only setback is I couldn't see the students' faces, but it's fine. Okay, I hope anybody out there who has been listening, I hope it has been useful. Do reach out to EduAdvisor if you have further questions. I'm sure they can pass on the questions to me. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. Have a good day.
Good day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you to our audience for tuning in to our webinar session with Dr. Siva Bala of Taylor's College. If you're at the fair, do visit Taylor's College virtual booth and check out all the offering programs that's available. Before we end the show, let's take a quick glimpse at what Taylor's College has prepared for you.
Oh, hey, you talking to me? What's it like studying Taylor's? Great question. Here in Taylor's, we offer a wide selection of courses fully equipped with modernly designed classrooms and also lecture theatres to ensure both our lecturers and students feel safe at the same time. And also, did we forget to mention that the former US President Barack Obama once held an informal town hall conference right here in this very hall? How great is that? Other than cozy and comfortable classrooms, Taylor's also offers state-of-the-art labs to suit all your science needs. Courses ranging from biomedical science, plant tissue culture, food science, and so much more. Designed to simulate court environment and procedures, rest assured that Taylor students will be equipped with a realistic learning experience to prepare them for life after graduation. Not forgetting our world-class culinary courses coupled with 4 fully equipped restaurants and kitchens to simulate real-world experience to bring out the inner chef in you. And also, hopefully, not having Gordon Ramsay screen down your ears. Did we also mention our live trading room? It is one of the largest financial Bloomberg labs in Malaysia, combined with high-tech technology, authentic teaching environment, and also world-class resources. Students are immersed in an actual trading environment using the same real-time data and technology used by professionals worldwide. Our design and architecture studio provides a place for students to design, produce, and refine their artistic creations into tangible forms of presentation and critique. How am I looking? Looking great! Special purpose labs equipped with the latest hardware and software has definitely helped me in developing effective software development, website creations, computer forensics, and a whole lot more. So much faster without any limitations. So, computer labs aren't the only places equipped with the latest hardware. Introducing carpentry, mechanical engineering, 3D printing, not forgetting our beloved simulated hotel rooms to conduct practical training for students in all things hospitality and tourism, where artistic expression comes to life as students explore the exciting world of performing arts.
Why is it so dark in here?
So that's it, folks. That's what it's like to study in Taylor. We truly hope you enjoyed our virtual tour around campus, whether it's engineering, culinary arts, computer science, you name it. We look forward to seeing you here.
All right, that's all we have for today. It's been a pleasure, and thank you to our audience for tuning in to EduAdvisor's webinar series. We hope you gained some insightful and inspiring information to pursue your dream courses. Don't forget to check out EduAdvisor's virtual education fair happening the whole week and get all the information you need. Just click chat at the respective universities or go on to info desk and speak to our counselors personally. Hope to see you again. Thank you for watching and goodbye.